Hey, what's up everybody? Clifton here, Clifton WP. Welcome back to the channel. In this video, you're going to learn how to create an e-commerce website from scratch using Kadence Theme, Kadence Blocks, and WooCommerce. The best part of this tutorial is that everything we're going to be using is going to be 100% free. That's right. We're going to be using the free Kadence Theme, the free version of Kadence Blocks, and we're going to be using WooCommerce, which is also free, to be able to build out our website. You're also going to learn how to structure your home page for your e-commerce website, as well as the internal pages and your product pages as well. So if you are ready to learn how to create an e-commerce website using the Kadence Theme, Kadence Blocks, and WooCommerce, then let's go ahead and jump right into it. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at what we're going to be building. What you're looking at here is a completely custom e-commerce website that's built on the Kadence theme with Kadence Blocks, and it's utilizing WooCommerce for the e-commerce functionality. And what you're going to be learning how to build is this home page, including the featured area, the different sections. I'm going to show you how to add your products to the front side of the website. And I'll even show you how to create this nice footer over here that has an opt-in form on the right-hand side. You'll also learn how to set up your header for your e-commerce website so that you have a logo here on the left, your navigation in the middle, and then we even have a cart icon all the way here on the right with a counter. Okay, and then we also have this notification here that says free shipping on orders over $50. Everything here is fully functional, so if you go to an item like the collared sweater, you can see that we have the product page with the product image, and we can go ahead and add this to the cart. And when we view the cart, we'll see the items that we have in our cart. You can see over here a place to be able to add a coupon, and you can see that the delivery or the free shipping is now activated because the order is over $50. I'll also show you how to set up this shipping here in the cart. And when we proceed to checkout, you'll see a very nice and clean checkout with two columns. Here on the right hand side are the order details, and then on the left is the information for the buyer. And you can see here we have free shipping activated due to the total amount. And then I'll also show you how to set up your payment options so that you can accept credit cards on your e-commerce website. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to go ahead and reset this website so it's completely blank, and we'll rebuild everything step by step from scratch. Before we reset the website, one thing I do want to mention is that if you're considering building an e-commerce website in WordPress to sell your products online, it's going to be very important that you build that e-commerce website on a strong and reliable foundation. And by foundation, I mean your hosting platform, basically where your website is going to live. That brings us to our video sponsor today, which is Cloudways. Now, Cloudways provides a hosting platform or a managed hosting platform that allows you to connect to high performance servers that can provide you with dedicated resources for your websites. Okay. And one of the solutions that they have is e-commerce hosting. They're actually configured for e-commerce hosting. And the great thing about Cloudways is that you get faster load times because you have access to dedicated resources. Whereas on a shared platform, you're really sharing resources with hundreds or thousands of other websites. Two, you have stronger security on your server because they have built-in firewalls where they provide regular updates and isolated environments so that they can keep your customer data safe. And then I also like Cloudways because it's scalable and flexible. So if your e-commerce website takes off and you're getting a lot of traffic and a lot of sales, you'll want to be able to expand and grow your server as you need without any limits or any hassles. And then the final reason why I like Cloudways is that Cloudways is actually optimized for WordPress and WooCommerce. So that means it includes caching, backups, staging tools, and everything that you need to keep your site running smoothly. So basically, if you want a faster, safer, and more scalable e-commerce site, then Cloudways is a smarter choice than shared hosting. And as a matter of fact, I have a Cloudways account, and the reset that we're going to do is going to happen in my Cloudways account. So let me show you how that works. This is what the Cloudways dashboard looks like. I'm currently in the server section. You can see that I have one hosting server. So of course you can do this in your own server, but I'm just showing you what it looks like with Cloudways. So I have one hosting server, and then within this server, I have multiple WordPress installs. So I'm going to go ahead and add a new WordPress install, just clicking on add application, and I'm going to select my server and click on add application. Then I'm going to select that I want to use WordPress. Now I could select that I want WordPress with WooCommerce, but I want to do everything step by step and I don't want to skip any steps. So I'm just going to say WordPress. This is just going to give me a default vanilla install of WordPress. And we'll call this the name of our store, which is Max Lux, and click on add application. What it's going to do now is it's going to go ahead and build out a WordPress install for me. Okay, the WordPress install is now complete. I can go to applications and I can see it here. And let's go ahead and access it. So you can see all my own dedicated resources are here. And when you're ready to add a domain to it, so right now we have this temporary WordPress URL, and then we have our login and password for the admin section of the dashboard for WordPress. But here are all my dedicated resources here, and I can go ahead and install an SSL certificate, do backups, and then I can even add a domain here once I'm ready and make that the primary domain for my WordPress website. But for now, we're just going to build on this vanilla install. And let's go ahead and grab the access details here. So I'm just going to copy the password, click on the link for the admin panel, and then we'll go ahead and log in. Okay, so we are now logged in. And what you'll see here if we visit the website is that you just have a default 2025 theme for WordPress. What we're going to do next is go ahead and install our Kadence theme. We'll also install the Kadence Blocks plugin, both of which are free in the WordPress repository. And then we'll also install WooCommerce and begin building our custom e-commerce website from scratch. To install the Kadence theme, let's go ahead and navigate back to the dashboard. So just go to the admin toolbar, hover over the name of the website, click on dashboard. That'll take us to the admin dashboard. We're going to go to appearance, themes, click on add theme, and we will do a search for Kadence. You'll see the Kadence theme here. Click on install and activate. Okay, so now we have the Kadence theme installed. If we visit the front end of the website now, we'll see that it now has the Kadence theme. Let's go ahead and go back to the dashboard, go to appearance, themes, and we'll just get rid of these other themes because we don't need them anymore. So just select the theme, click on delete. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install Kadence Blocks. Now, Kadence Block is a set of Gutenberg blocks that's made by Kadence, and their main purpose is to help you build out your pages using these specialized blocks. So to install the Kadence Blocks plugin, let's go to plugins, click on add plugin from the flyout menu. And then over here in the search plugins search field, we're going to go ahead and type in Kadence Blocks, hit search, and you'll see the Kadence Blocks plugin here. Let's click on install now and activate. Okay, so now we have Kadence Blocks installed. Next, what we're going to do is install our WooCommerce plugin. To do that, we're going to go to add plugin from the plugin screen here, or you can just go to install plugins, click on add plugin. And this time we'll go to a search for WooCommerce. You'll see the WooCommerce plugin here. This is going to help us have all our e-commerce functionality for the website. Click on install now and activate. Once you activate the WooCommerce plugin, you're going to get this guided setup. We're going to go ahead and click on set up my store. We'll say I'm just starting my business. Click on continue. And then you want to give your store a name. So let's give it the name of our store here, which is Max Lux. And the industry is going to be clothing and accessories. We'll leave everything else as is. Click on continue. Next, it's going to offer you some plugins to install. I just like to uncheck all of these. I do not want to install any plugins because I want to be able to do everything step by step and from scratch. Go ahead and click on continue. All right, so now if we look to the left here in the admin menu, you'll see that we now have WooCommerce installed, and then you'll also see a products menu and a payments menu as well. Okay, so we're now pretty much ready to go ahead and start building out our site. So now when we visit the front end of the website, we'll see here now we have the name of our store, and we have the e-commerce pages here. So we've got our cart, we have the checkout, we have a My Accounts page, right? And we have a shop page, okay? Now we don't have any products in the shop, so you're not going to see anything, but we pretty much have everything that we need to power our e-commerce website. So the next step here is to go ahead and actually design the site and build out our home page. Okay, so the first step is for us to go ahead and designate an actual home page. Whenever you install the Kadence theme, you're going to have this default archive blog page, and this is not what we're going to be using for our home page. So to do that, we can go over here to the admin toolbar, hover over the new menu item, and we can select page to go ahead and create a new page, or you can navigate to the dashboard by hovering over the name of the site here in the admin toolbar. Click on dashboard. That'll take you to the WP admin, and then from here we can go to pages and add a page. Okay, our page is now added. I'm going to go ahead and close this welcome to the editor notification, and we'll just call this page home. And now we're going to go ahead and set up the page. So to set up the page, for us to design it, we're going to go over here to the right, and here where you see the page settings icon, go ahead and click on that. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set the page title to disable. And then the page layout that we want is a full width layout. This way, the width of the page goes from the edge of the screen to the other edge of the screen. Then the content style that we want is going to be unboxed, and the vertical spacing we want is disabled. Okay, that way there's no spacing on the top and the bottom. Okay, and so now our page settings are now set. Let's just go ahead and publish this page for now. Okay, and when we view the page, we should see a nice blank canvas. All right, so now what we want to do is we want to set this up to be the home page, because if you go to the home page now, it's still going to default to the archive blog page. So to do that, navigate back to the dashboard. We're going to go to settings, and we're going to select the reading submenu item here. And in here where it says your home page displays, we're going to change that to a static page. And in the home page dropdown, click on the select dropdown, and we're going to select home. Let's go ahead and save that. Okay, we can go ahead and close this out here where it says get started with AI powered website. This is just offering you the opportunity to install the AI starter templates from Kadence. We're not going to need that for this tutorial, so I'm just going to go ahead and close this so we don't keep seeing it every time we go to the dashboard. Now when we go to the front end of the website and you look at the home page, it's going to default to that home page that we just created. Next, what we're going to do is we're actually going to build out the first section of our home page, which is going to be the hero section. And once we build out the hero section, we can then go ahead and build out the rest of the page, then set up our header, set up our footer, and then we're ready to go ahead and add our products to our e-commerce website. All right, so to get started building out our homepage for our e-commerce website, the first thing I want to do is I want to set up my typography, and I want to set up my colors as well. To do that, you're going to navigate over to the customizer by clicking on the customize link here in the admin toolbar. That's going to open up the options for the Kadence theme here. And from here, we're going to go to colors and fonts. We're going to select our colors. And all I really want for this one is just a clean minimalist look. So a black and white color scheme will do. And this is where you can set up your global palette. Kadence affords you 3 different slots. We only need to use 1. And then you also have some presets here that you can select as your color palette as well. Okay, so I already have a light background color palette in the default, so I just want to have a little bit of contrast with the products. So I'm going to select this last one here, and then I'm going to customize it to my liking. So I like the subtle browns here, and I really want these light backgrounds here, but I'm going to change the accent color. And what I want here is I want the accent color to actually be a light black. So we'll set that to 10111. And we want the highlight color here. I would like that to be just a slight rusty color is fine. Okay, and that's really all I need. This is dark enough. These are all dark enough. This is light enough. Okay, next what I want to do is go ahead and set up my typography. To do that, we're going to navigate back to colors and fonts. We're going to go to typography, and we're going to change the system default. Let's go ahead and change this, and we'll select outfit. Just type in outfit. It's a really nice clean font. Okay, and then for the heading font family, we're going to select a nice serif font. So just do a search for DM serif display, which is this one here. Select that. Okay, and now our fonts are set up. The other thing that I want to do is I want to set this size here. I would like this to actually be 16 pixels. Okay, then everything else looks good. Let's go ahead and publish. And now we're ready to start building out our homepage. Okay, so the first part of our homepage that we're going to be building is going to be the hero section. To do that, go ahead and navigate to the admin toolbar and click on Edit Page. That's going to take us to the editing interface for the page. And from here, we're going to go ahead and click on the block inserter, which is this plus sign with the blue square box around it. And from here, you're going to see all the blocks that are available for you to build out your pages. For this particular tutorial, we're going to be using Kadence Blocks to build out our page. And what we need is a container block. Now, Kadence has two container blocks. They have the row layout and the section layout, and these two blocks are great for building out the structure of your page. For this one, we're going to select the row layout. It's going to go ahead and drop the block into our page, and from here, we can go ahead and select a layout. I'm going to go ahead and close the block inserter so I can see more spacing here on the page, and I'm going to select that I want the 2-column row layout. Then from here, I'm going to go ahead and select the row, and in the short menu here, I'm going to go ahead and click on the align icon and set this to full width. And then for the inner content width, that's going to be this icon right here. This will help me set the inner content width of the row. I'm going to go ahead and toggle on that I want to use the inner content width set by default for the theme, which is 1290 pixels. That's going to go ahead and center the columns for me nicely on the page. And now I can go ahead and get started configuring this hero section. So the way this hero section is going to look is we're going to have content on the left-hand side and an image on the right-hand side. But first I want to go ahead and format the row so it's ready to receive our content. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and click on the row itself. Over here on the right-hand side, I'm going to see the settings for the row. I'm going to go to Advanced. And from here, I'm going to unify the padding by linking them all together. And I'm just going to go ahead and zero this out so I have no padding. Then I'm going to unlink it, and I'm going to set the padding one by one. So the top padding, I want that to be 4XL, and the bottom padding is going to have the same thing. This is just so I can see the row well as I'm placing items into it. The right side is going to be 0 and the left is going to be 0 or none. Now we have our row set up. Next, what I want to do is go ahead and add a background to this row. So I'm going to go ahead and select the row, move over here to the right, click on the Style tab. I'm going to go to Background Color, and the color we're going to use is our highlight color, and it's going to give us a nice dark row. We're going to be placing some content here, and I want the site visitor to be able to see that content. So I'm going to go ahead and set a text color for this row. To do that, under the Style tab, scroll down, go to the text color settings. We're going to click on text color, and we're going to apply a white color to that. Okay, now we're ready to start adding content to our row. So on the left-hand side, we're going to have our unique selling proposition or our offer, a description, and a button. On the right-hand side, we're going to have our image. Let's go ahead and click on the plus sign inside of this section. And from here, I'm going to select the text block from Kadence. If you're not seeing it here, you can also open up the block inserter and you'll see the text block here as well, and you can insert it from there. So plus sign, text block, and our text is going to say, get 50% to 80% off head turning luxury outfits. I'm going to go ahead and format this. I want this to be really large. So with the text selected, over here on the right hand side, you should see the text settings. And under the Style tab for this, we're going to set this to a 2XL font size. Okay. Next, we're going to set the line height. So the line height, I'm going to go ahead and select a unit for my line height. I want this to be in rems. And we're going to set the line height to 4. Okay, it's going to bring it together nicely there. Next, what I want to do is go ahead and add a description and a button. To do that, I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter right after that. First text, and we're going to go ahead and have a new block line here. I'm going to type a /. I'm going to see the text block right over here in this menu. I'm going to select it, and we want this to be a paragraph tag instead of it being a heading tag. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the heading tag designation here. And out of these options, I'm going to select that I want this to be a paragraph. Then I'm just going to go ahead and add my text. I'm going to hit the enter key. I'm going to type /, start typing the words button, and you would see the Kadence buttons here. Let's go ahead and select it. And we're going to add a label to this button. We'll say shop now. And then let's go ahead and align the button to the left. So here in the short menu for the button, we're going to go ahead and click on the justification icon, and we're going to justify the item to the left here, the button to the left. All right, awesome. Next, I want to go ahead and style this button so it's a little bit more prominent so we can see it. So over here on the right hand side, if you have the button selected, you're going to see the button options. And from here, I'm going to click on the Style tab. I'm going to scroll down, go to the icon settings. We're going to add an arrow icon. So just click in the icon field. We can do a search for arrow. Scroll down, and I want this long arrow right here. Okay. The next thing that we want to do is we can see the color of the button is blending in with the background here. So we need to do something to make this stand out a little bit better. So over here on the right hand side, under the Style tab, we're going to add a border to this button. We're going to add a 2-pixel border, and we're going to click on a color for that border, and we're going to use our highlight color to bring that button out. Next, we're going to add a border radius, so we have a pill-shaped button. And so here where we have the border radius, I'm going to go ahead and unify the sides, and I'm going to add 100 pixels in the field here, and that's going to give me this pill-shaped button here. Okay, so that looks really good. So on the right-hand side, we're now ready to go ahead and add our image. So I'm going to click on the plus sign here, and I'm going to do a search for image, and I'm going to select the Kadence block image here, and then click on select image. And then from the images that we have here in our repository, I'm going to select this image. Let's go ahead and add it to the page. So our image is in here. And what we want to do is we want to format this entire row to look really slick and really nice. So a couple of things we want to do is, one, we want to create some more spacing between the image and the text. Also, I would love the image to be flush to the right. Okay, so let me show you how to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select the row, move over to the right, and here under the row layout settings, you're going to see the column gutter. Let's go ahead and make that a large column gutter. It's going to give us a little bit more space. And then the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to select this section on the left to create even more space. And I'm going to move over to the right, go to advanced, and we're going to add padding to the right. So just click in the right field for the padding, and let's just go ahead and increase this to 3XL. Okay, so now we have some really nice space so you can see the image distinct from the content. The other thing that I want to do is I want this to be aligned to the middle, or vertically aligned to the middle. So I'm going to select the section, and then here in the short menu, I'm going to select the alignment, and let's go ahead and align the contents to the middle. All right, that looks great. And just like this, it already looks awesome as a hero section, but we're going to make this even more dynamic. First thing that I want to do is for this background, I know we have a color background here. I would love to have a subtle texture behind this. So I have a texture image that I can add. I'm going to click on the row layout, move over here to the right, go to style, and the background, we already have a background color. So let's scroll down and look at the background overlay settings. We're going to go ahead and open up that tag. And in here, you can see we can add a background image as an overlay. So let's go ahead and click on select image. And I have an overlay image here, and you'll have access to the same image. It's going to be amongst the collection of photos that I include in the link in the description below. Just go ahead and click that link, and you get all these images in case you're trying to recreate this website. I'm going to go ahead and click on the hero section subtle pattern, and we'll click on select. So I created this pattern just so that I can have a nice pattern behind here. So you can see it here. It's very subtle. If I increase the overlay opacity, you'll be able to see it even more. Okay. Now I don't want it to really be like this, even though this looks great. What I want is I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to set the background image size to contain. So that's going to contain the image for me in here. Okay. Then the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to shift this up and to the left. Okay. So it's to the left of everything there. Awesome. And then the other thing that we want to do, we want to make sure this is no repeat, and the image is at scroll. So everything here looks good with the image. Now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and make it a little bit more subtle. So we increase the opacity so we could see it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to begin reducing this until it's barely there. You get the sense that there is some texture there, but it's barely there. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the layout here. So this is a pretty nice layout. If we go ahead and save our work, and we view this on the front end, see, this is a pretty nice layout. All right, let's go ahead and click on edit page to go back to the editing interface. And what we're going to do here is we're going to set this up so that the image is flush to the right, but the content is going to remain within the inner content width. So within the row block in Kadence, there is an option for you to be able to break items out of the inner content width. That option is always available whenever you create a row and you set the alignment width to full width. So if I set this back to none as an example, okay, if you look over here to the right, here where it says content max width, you notice that we only have this option to inherit the max width from theme. If I turn the full width on, then we get these additional options to be able to break content to the left or to the right. In this case, we want to break this content. We want to break it to the right. So I'm going to go ahead and toggle that on, and that's going to go ahead and bring that over to the right for me. Now I'm going to go ahead and eliminate the padding on the top and the bottom. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll eliminate the one at the bottom too. Okay, so now everything is flush. And let's take a look at how that looks on the front end. Okay, that looks pretty good. All right, next we're going to go ahead and go back to edit page. And what I want to do is I just want to add a subtle border radius here to the bottom of the image. So I'm going to go ahead and select the image, move over here to the right, and we're going to go to style for the image. And here where we have the border radius, we're going to look for the left field, and we're going to go ahead and add 80 pixels to that. It's going to give us this nice little curvature at the bottom here. Let's go ahead and save our work. And when we view this on the front end, we can see that we now have our very nice hero section. Okay, so let's go ahead and take care of the mobile view for our hero section. This way it looks good on all devices. So from here, I'm going to navigate to the admin toolbar, click on edit page. It's going to take me to the editing interface for the page. I'm going to click on the row layout, which is going to go ahead and trigger the settings for this row. Under the layout tab, I'm going to select the tablet icon. That's going to put it in tablet view for me. And from here, I can go ahead and start editing. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse the rows. So when we do that, the image is going to be here on the bottom. The text will be on the top. And what I want is for this to actually be flipped. I want the image to be on top and the text on the bottom. To do that, under the layout tab, we're going to go to collapse order, and we're going to switch this from normal to reverse. That's going to place the image on the very top, and we're going to have our text now on the bottom. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create some padding around the text. So I'm going to select the section, move over here to the right, go to advanced. Under the padding here, I'm going to go ahead and unify the sides or link the sides. And I'm just going to go ahead and zero out any default padding that's there. And then from here, I'm just going to go ahead and add medium padding to this. Okay, so it has nice medium padding around it, keeping the text off of the edges of the device. Then the next thing I'm going to do from here is go ahead and select the cell phone or mobile phone icon. And now I can see what it looks like on a mobile device. I'm happy with the way the image looks, but the text needs some adjusting. So I'm going to select the text, move over here to the right. Under the font settings, I'm going to set a line height of 3. Okay. All right. I'm happy with the way this looks. Let's go ahead and save our work. Let's view it on the front end. And now when we look at this on a mobile device, okay, you can see here, this is what it looks like on a tablet. And then if we look at this on a cell phone, let's select the iPhone 12. Can see what that looks like. Okay, looks good. We're now done with our hero section. Let's go ahead and build out the next section. A benefit section on your home page is basically where you communicate to your site visitor 3 to 4 reasons why they should do business with you. So we're going to go ahead and add one here. It's going to sit right below the hero section that we just created. To do that, let's go ahead and navigate over to the edit page link in the admin toolbar. It's going to take us to the editing interface, and right here where we have the block line, let's go ahead and just type a / That's going to bring up some blocks for us. We want the row layout block from Kadence, and the layout that we want is a 4-column layout. I'm going to go ahead and set up this row now. So I'm going to select the row, and here in the short menu, I'm going to click on the align icon. I want this to be full width, and then I'm going to move over here to the right to the settings for the row layout. Go to the style tab, and then under the background color, I'm going to set the background color to be our highlight color, same as we have for the hero section. And this way it looks like an extension of our hero section. And then I'm going to scroll down here to the text color settings, and I'm going to set that to white so that any blocks or any text blocks that we add to this row here or in the sections is going to be white. Okay. All right. So now our row is set up. Next, all we need to do is add our benefits. So to communicate these benefits, we're going to use 3 blocks. We're going to use an icon block and 2 text blocks. So I'm going to click on the plus sign here. And in the search field, I'm going to search for icon, and we're going to select the icon block from Kadence. And you'll know it's from Kadence because it's going to be the blue colored blocks. Let's go ahead and select the icon. And then I'm going to select the full icon itself. So whenever you add an icon, if you open up this in list view, the icon is actually a block that has a block inside of it. So there's a parent container, and then there's the single icon itself. So the parent container is what you want to select if you want to be able to click on the ellipsis here or click on the ellipsis here to be able to add a block afterwards. Okay, so I'm going to click on the ellipsis here and click on add after. That's going to give me a new block line. I'm going to type a / and we want a text block. Okay, and I'm going to do that one more time. Add after / and we want another text block. Okay. So now we have the basic framework for our benefits. Now we just need to go ahead and style this. So this section is going to be talking about our 90-day return benefit. So I'm going to select the icon, move over here to the right. I'm going to change the icon to a calendar to signify the time frame. So I'm going to do a search for a calendar. I like this one here. We're going to reduce the size to half its size. So let's make this 25 pixels. Okay. All right, I'm happy with that. Next, we're going to move over to the text. I'm going to click on the text here, and we're going to change this to say 90-day returns. Let's go ahead and center this. Now, anytime you add a text block from Kadence into your page, there are some default margins that are set up in here. So what I like to do in this case, so I can control the spacing between the icon and the text, is I like to zero out that spacing. Now, sometimes you'll see this toolbar will obscure your design sometimes, and if that bothers you, one thing you can do is you can go over here to the far right corner and the vertical ellipsis options here, go ahead and click on it and then select the first option, which is top toolbar. If you do that, it's going to move that toolbar to the very top here. And so no matter what you select, all the settings will be up here. The short menu settings will be up here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that for now so we can see what we're doing. So I'm selecting this text, and I'm going to move over here to the right. I'm going to go to advanced, and I'm going to zero out the margins on it. So a way to do that, I'm more concerned about the top and bottom margins. So I'm going to select the margin for the top field here, and let's just zero that out. And you see how it brings it much closer. Okay, and then I'm going to select the bottom, and I'm going to do the same thing. And then here for this second piece of text, we're going to say no questions asked. Let's go ahead and center that as well. So click on the short menu. Text align center. Okay, so now everything kind of looks nice and even. Now we just need to style these a little bit. So I do want this one to retain its heading styling. It's going to be H2 heading. So I'm going to select it, move over here to the right, go to style, and we'll set this to a medium size. Okay, that makes it a little bit smaller. Then we're going to select the second text here. Okay, and if you look at the short menu, it's designated as an H2 tag. We don't really want that. We want this to be a paragraph tag. Okay, and that looks a lot better. So now we need to add our spacing. So I do want some space between the icon and the text here itself. So I'm going to select the title text, move over to the right, and we're going to go to advanced. And now I can add the margin that I prefer. So I'm going to add an extra small margin. Okay, so now that I've set up the first one, I can now go ahead and set up the rest. Now, a way to speed this up is I'm going to go ahead and select all 3 of these blocks. I'm going to open this up in list view. We're going to go to that row layout. It's going to be the first section. I'm going to select the parent icon block, hold down my shift key, select the description. Okay, and then I'm going to click on the vertical ellipsis here, and I'm going to click on copy. Then I'm going to move over to the next section here, click on the plus sign, select a plain paragraph block, and then on my keyboard, I'm going to press Command V to paste that in. If you're on a PC, it would be Control V. I'm on a Mac, so Command V works for me. Okay, so now I have the same exact information with all the same settings pasted in here. I'm going to repeat that for the other sections here. Great, and now all I need to do is just change the text and the icons, and our benefit section is completed. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So this second benefit that we're going to offer is going to be free shipping. I'm going to select the icon, move over to the right, go to the icon settings, and we'll do a search for a truck to signify shipping. And we'll say free shipping, and we'll change the description. All right, that looks good. Moving on to the next one. This is going to be secure payments. We'll change the icon to something that signifies payments. It's like a credit card. There we go. And the description will say pay securely. And then the final one will be customer service. So let's change the icon. And I'm going to change this to like a support raft. Okay, and we're going to say 24/7 customer service. And the description will be contact us anytime. This looks great. Let's go ahead and save. Let's view it on the front end. Okay, I really like the way that turned out. It looks pretty good. Okay, so we have our hero section, and then we have our 4 benefits as to why people should buy with us. Now let's go ahead and set up the mobile view for this section that we just added. So I'm going to come back here to edit page. We're going to select this row. Make sure we have that row selected. If you have a difficult time selecting the row, you can always open this up in list view and select the row that way. Okay. Now that I have the row selected, I'm going to move over to the right, and we'll start with the tablet. Click on the tablet icon, and then let's take a look at how this looks. So one of the things that I noticed is that on the tablet, even up here, the text is still flush with the sides of the screen. So we can actually fix that. So one way to do that is to just go back to our list view, go to the top row layout, open this up, and it's going to be the first section because remember this is flipped. I'm going to move over to the right, go to advanced, and we'll just link all the padding sides, and we'll give this some padding. Okay, so now that looks good again. All right, next, let's select the second row layout here. So that's where we have all our benefits here. So that's the second row layout. Make sure that your tablet is selected, the tablet icon. And as I'm looking at this, this does look a little bit squished. So let's change the layout, and we'll change the layout to this grid layout here. Okay, and now that looks a lot better. Okay, now let's take a look at it on a mobile device. And on a mobile device, this aligns very well. Okay, I'm happy with the way that looks. You can also try doing it as a grid, but you may encounter some issues on this one here. And we can of course fix that by changing the sizes of the text here, but I actually like it this way. So it's just very clear, easy to read on a mobile phone. All right, everything here looks great. Let's go ahead and save our work. So our mobile editing is now complete. Let's view it on the front end. And I like to check this out in Google Chrome Developer. So just right click on Inspect if you're using Chrome, and you'll be able to see it here. Okay, so you can see here how it's going to look on a cell phone. All right, that looks good. And this also looks very good. Okay, so now we've completed the hero section. We've completed the benefits section. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and build out the remaining sections for our homepage. Okay, so let's go ahead and add the next section. From here, I'm going to go ahead and navigate over to the admin toolbar. Click on Edit Page. That's going to bring us back to the editing interface for the homepage. And what I want to do here is I want to add a section that has 3 of my categories showcased and maybe some descriptive text for the section. So what I'm going to do is right below the benefits section, I'm going to place my cursor in the new block line. I'm going to type a / and it's going to bring up some of my recently used blocks. And I'm going to select the row layout block from Kadence. And the layout that I want to use is going to be a 4-column layout with 3 of the columns on the left narrow and the 4th column wide. Okay, so that's this one right here. Let's go ahead and select it. And just like before, I'm going to select the row, and in this particular case, I do want the row to have a full width. So my toolbar, remember we placed that at the top here. So just go over here to the short menu, click on the align icon, set it to full width. Okay. Then the other thing is I also don't want this flush against the page. I do want some padding. So I'm going to select the row, move over to the right. We're going to go to the advanced tab in the options for this row. And here we're going to have our padding. Okay, so what I want to do here with this padding is on the top, I want this to be 4XL. Okay, so we'll just use that value. And I'm also going to do the same thing for the bottom for now. We can always adjust this later, but I just like to have a lot of space while I'm building out these sections. And then for the right here, by default, it has some small padding, but we're just going to increase this. Let's just set this to small. And on the left, small. Okay, so now we have our area that we can work in. So let's start with the first section. Click on the plus sign. We're going to select the heading text from Kadence, and let's just call this one our shirts category. So this would be shirts. And then the second one here, we'll repeat the same thing. And for this one, we'll call this our shoes. And the third one, this will be our accessories. And then I also want some text in here as well. So I'm going to click on the plus sign, select the heading text, and we'll add some heading text here too. I'm going to hit the enter key where I'm going to place some placeholder text. And then finally, we're going to add a button. So I'm just going to hit the enter key from here, type / start typing the word button. And we're going to select the Kadence advanced button here. And we will add a label to it, so shop now. Okay, and I want this button to have an icon, so go to the style in the options for this button, go to icon settings. We're going to go ahead and search for an arrow. We want the arrow pointing right. And then the other thing that I also want is I want this button aligned to the left. And lastly, I would like the button, so I'm going to select the button itself, but lastly, I would like the border radius on this button to be 50 pixels. So to do that, we're going to find the border setting, which is right here. We're going to unify all the edges there, and we're going to type in 50 pixels. It gives me a nice pill-shaped button. Okay, so now I have the framework for what I'm going to be creating here. The next thing to do is to add some images to make this look a lot better. Okay, so we're going to start with the first section. I'm going to click on the section itself. Now again, I'm not going to add an image block, so I could click on the plus sign here and we could go ahead and add an image block like so. Okay, so there's a shirt here, but what I want is I want this text to be overlaid on this image here, and I want that to happen for all of the categories. So what I'm going to opt for instead is I'm going to go ahead and delete this block, and what I want is to select the section itself, move over here to the right, go to style, and I'm going to select a background image, and the image that I want is this shirts category image. Okay, and now we can see that the image is here in the background. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing for each of the sections. So select it, go to style, select image. This time you want shoes. And then finally for the accessories, select the section, go to the style tab, background image. And now let's go ahead and add an accessory image. Okay, awesome. So now we can't see the text anymore, so let's go ahead and fix that. So I'm going to select the section again, move over to the right, go to the Style tab, scroll all the way down, and you're going to see the text color settings for this section. I'm going to go ahead and open up that tab, select text color. I want that to be white. I also want the link color to be white, and maybe the hover color can be our highlight color here. Now we can see the text. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and apply the same thing to the other sections as well. So select section, move over to the right, go to Style, scroll down, Text Color Settings, and we'll set everything to white. Okay, so let's continue with our styling. So the next thing that I want is I also want to be able to see the rest of these images, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this section. I'm going to move over here to the right, go to the Advanced tab in the Section Options, go to Structure Settings, and I'm going to set a minimum height of 400 pixels. Okay, so now we can see the full image here. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the Style tab, and I'm going to scroll down looking for the border styles. Okay, I'm going to open up the border styles, and from here I'm going to go ahead and link all of these by clicking on the link icon here for the border radius, and we're going to set this to 8 pixels. Okay, so that's going to give it this nice soft rounded corner here. Okay, so I really like the way that it looks. The other thing that I'm going to do as well is I'm going to click on the label here. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and center this. So my short menu is up here at the top. Click on the align text icon, and let's align that to the center. And then finally, for this section, I'm going to select the section. Again, move back over here to the right, go to general, and what I want is I want the text to be aligned to the bottom. So under the general options here, you're going to look at the vertical alignment. Just go ahead and select the bottom alignment here, and that's going to bring it down here to the bottom for me. Okay. All right. Then the final thing that I want to do is I want to add a little bit of padding to this section. So I'm going to select the section, move over here to the right, go to Advanced, and we're just going to add small padding here. Okay. All right. That looks pretty good. Now, if you're not happy with the way this is being cut off, it's very easy to adjust this. Just select the image or select the section, move over here to the right, go to Style, and here you can see the focus tool here. So I can focus this anywhere on the image that I want, right? So I want this more to the top. So I'm just going to drag it up over to the top. That way we can see the full image of the gentleman here representing our shirts. Okay. All right, that looks pretty good. The next thing that I want to do is I want to apply the same thing to all of the other items here actually. Okay, so I'm happy with the way this looks. I'm going to go ahead and apply the same thing to the other sections. So I'm going to come over here, select the section, move over here to the right. I'm going to go to the Styles tab, scroll down, and I'm going to look for the border styles. We're going to go ahead and link all the sides here for the border radius, set it to 8 pixels. And then I'm going to go back to the tabs here for the section, click on the Advanced tab, scroll down, Structure Settings. We'll set the minimum height here to 400 pixels. Okay. And then under the General tab, we're going to go ahead and align that text to the bottom. And let's also remember to select the text and align the text itself to the center. Okay. Then the final thing we want to do is go ahead and add our padding. So I'm going to select the section again, move over here to the right, go to Advanced. We're going to link the padding, and we're going to do a small padding. Okay, let's go ahead and work on the final section. I'm going to select this section again, move over here to the right, go to Advanced, go to the Structure Settings. I'm going to set this to 400 pixels. Then we're going to go to the Style tab, scroll down, look for the Border Styles tab. We'll open that. We'll go ahead and unify the edges here by clicking on the link, and we'll set this to 8 pixels. Then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the General tab here, and we're going to vertically align the text to the bottom. I'm going to select the text here in the short menu. I'm going to set the alignment to the center. And I'm going to go finally select the section again, go to Advanced, and we're going to go ahead and unify the padding sides and set this to small. Okay, so now everything looks uniform and the same. Okay, Now, the other thing that I want to do is this text is a little bit large. So let's go ahead and format this text. I'm going to select the text here, move over here to the right, and let's set this to medium size. Okay, I like that. And now we can do it for the other ones. One way to do it is you can click on the text. Over here in the short menu, click on the copy paste icon. Click on copy styles. Select the next text. Click on the copy paste icon again, paste styles, and then repeat it for the next one. Okay, I like it. Okay, now we do notice that it's a little bit hard to see the text, so we want to add a bit of an overlay to these sections. So the way to do that is just select a section, move over to the right, go to style, scroll down. There is a background overlay setting. Go ahead and open that. And from here, we're going to go ahead and add a dark color. So I'm just going to select the color palette here, and I'm going to click on our strongest text color, which is the third one. Okay, and we can already see that darkens it up a little bit, but I'm going to go ahead and increase that slightly. Let's go to 40. Okay, 0.4. All right, I like that. The text is now more visible. I'm now going to go ahead and repeat that for the other sections as well. So select the section, move over to the right, go to the Style tab, scroll down, select the background overlay, click on the background color selector, and we want the strongest text, and we'll set this to 0.4. Later on, when we add our products and our product categories, we'll go ahead and link these sections to those product categories. Now, there's still a little bit of work that we need to do here. Obviously, this is a little bit too close to each other, so we need some more gap space here. So I'm going to go ahead and select the entire row. I'm going to move over here to the right, and we're going to set the column. Actually, I like the column spacing here. So if I set the column spacing here, it's going to space out everything else, and I don't want that. So I'm happy with the medium spacing, but I do want this area to be a little bit further away from the categories. So I'm going to select the section itself. Let's move over here to the right. I'm going to go to Advanced, and here I'm going to see the padding settings, and I want to affect the left padding here. So I'm going to click on the left padding field, and we're just going to increase this to extra large, or maybe even XXL. Yeah, give it some good spacing. Okay, so now that looks a lot better. This way the text is distinctly separate from the category images. Okay, I like this. Now what we need to do is make sure that this looks good on a mobile device as well. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and select that row, move over here to the right. We're going to select the tablet icon, and when we scroll down, we can see that this doesn't look that great on tablet. So the best way to fix this is to go ahead and select a different layout, and the layout that we're going to use is this grid layout here. Okay, it's really nice. It organizes everything in a grid, and the final part of the grid here is going to be our text. Now we don't want this padding here for the tablet view. It's great on the desktop view, but on the tablet we want to eliminate that, and we can do that very easily. Just go ahead and select that section, move over here to the right, make sure that you have the tablet icon selected, and in here we can see what our desktop padding looks like. Let's go ahead and click there, and any change we make here will only apply to the tablet view. So what I can do now is I can go ahead and zero this out. It's totally okay for it to be uniform now. Okay. And now that looks great. If we look at it on desktop, it still maintains that padding. If I look at it on the tablet, it still maintains the padding for the tablet. Okay. Then I also want to make sure that it looks good on the cell phones, on your mobile devices. So let's go ahead and click on the mobile device icon or the cell phone icon. And looking at it here, this looks good, it looks good, and this looks great. Okay, now for the final check, let's go ahead and save our work. For the final check is for us to go ahead and see how this looks on the front end. So I'm going to go ahead and view the page. And when we scroll down, we can see that we have a really nice category section here. Now, one thing I am noticing is Over here, I don't like how this is stretched out all the way over here. I would much rather this be even closer together, more away from the edge here. Okay, so let's go ahead and fix that. We'll click on Edit Page, and from here what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some more padding on the right hand side. So I'm going to select a section, move over here to the right, we'll go to Advanced, and I'm going to place similar padding on the right. Okay, that looks better. Let's go ahead and save, and let's view it in the front end. Okay, I'm much more happier with this, the way this looks. Okay, that means we're done with this section. Our next task is to go ahead and add the remainder of the sections for our home page. Okay, so the next section that we're going to create is going to be a collection link section. This is just a section that's going to help us break up the layout, and it will also allow us to be able to add links that will link to collections of products. So this could be best sellers, this could be new arrivals, or items that are on sale. So let's go ahead and create that section right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and navigate to the admin toolbar, click on Edit Page. That's going to take us to the editing interface. And then from here, I'm going to select the last section that we created. And then here where we have the short menu, I'm going to click on the vertical ellipsis, and I'm going to click on Add After from the menu that appears. Then we're going to do a /, start typing the words row. You will see the row layout from Kadence. Let's select that block. And then we're going to select a simple 3-column layout for our row layout. I'm going to select the layout, and then back up here at the short menu, I'm going to set the alignment to full width. And then the inner content width, I'm going to set that to use the theme's content inner width, which is going to center those columns for me nicely in the middle of the row. Next, I'm going to select the row and then move over to the options for the row on the right hand side. I'm going to go to the Style tab, and then from here I'm going to select the background image field, and we're going to add a simple background image. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and go to the Advanced tab, and what we're going to do is we're going to set the padding for the top to be 4XL, and for the bottom will also be 4XL. Okay, I'm going to go back to the Style tab, back to the image, and under the image settings, I'm going to set the background image attachment to parallax. That's going to give us the effect of the image being fixed in the background while the foreground of the page scrolls over it. Okay. All right, next we're going to go ahead and add our items to the columns. To do that, I'm going to be using a block from Kadence called the info box block. If you open up the block inserter here, you will see the info box right over here. You can also click on the plus sign and do a search for info, and you'll see the info box here. Let's go ahead and select it. Now I like the info box because it comes with 3 elements already included, including a container. So it has the icon, it has a title, and it has text, and each one of these is configurable in the settings. So I'm going to go ahead and select the info box, move over here to the right where I have the settings for the info box. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to align everything to the left. So here where it says text alignment, just go ahead and align everything to the left. Then I'm going to move over to the Style tab, and under the Style tab you're going to see the settings for each of the elements contained within the info box, including the container settings as well. So let's go ahead and start with the media settings. What I want to do with the media settings is I want to use an image instead of an icon. So I'm going to open up the media settings, and here where it shows an media type, I'm going to change the media type to image. Now I can go ahead and select an image, and we'll just add an image of one of the male models here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and configure this image. All the image settings are going to be contained right over here. Okay. So first thing that I want to do is I want to reduce the size of this image. The max width, I'm going to set that to be 44 pixels. And then the image ratio, I'm going to set that image ratio to be a 1:1 square ratio. That way it makes the image square. And now that the image is square, I'm going to go over to the image border radius setting, and I'm going to add 100 pixels to that field to make the image a circle. Okay. So now I'm pretty happy with the image. I do also want the image to be aligned to the left. So if you scroll back up right above the a media type, you'll see the media alignment. Let's go ahead and click on that drop down, and we'll set that to be to the left. So now it looks pretty good. The next thing that I want to work on is going to be the title. First, I'm going to change the title by clicking on it, and we'll change this to Best Sellers. Okay. And then I'm going to move over here to the right, and for the title settings, I can go ahead and close the media settings for now. If we go to the title settings, we can see all the settings for the title. First thing that I want to do is I want to change the font size. So let's set this to be a medium font size. Okay. Then the other thing that I want to do is for the font family, I would like the title to have a similar font to the body text here. And in the text block for Kadence, you have a setting here that allows you to select the font family where you can actually choose it to inherit the body family or to stay with the heading family, or you can choose a font of your choosing here from one of these Google fonts. So I'm just going to select inherit body font family, and that's going to change it to more of a sans serif font. All right, I'm pretty happy with the way that looks. Let's go ahead and let's just close this for now and move on to the next setting, which is going to be the text setting. So we're not going to be using any of this text because I really want to be using this almost as a link or a really large button. So I'm going to open up the text settings, and we're going to go ahead and toggle the show text to off, which will disable it. And so now that text is now gone. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and configure the container here. So I'm going to select the container, move over here to the right, and we're going to go to advanced. And here where we have the padding, I'm going to go ahead and just make this 2x small. So just bring it down a notch. All right. Then the next thing that I want to do is I also want the container to be a pill shape similar to the buttons that we have here. Okay. So I'm going to go to Style, and here where we have the border radius, I'm going to go ahead and link all the sides, and we'll set this to 100 pixels. All right. Then the next thing that I want to do is I also want to reduce the width of the container here. So I'm going to go to Advanced, and here where we have the max width, I'm going to set a max width of 240 pixels. So our pill shape is now starting to take shape. Now I notice there's some margin here on the image. And so let's go ahead and get rid of some of this margin so this moves over a little bit more. So back to the settings here on the right hand side, go to Style, we'll go to Media Settings. And if you scroll down, you'll see the media margin settings here. And at the very far right are the left hand settings. We're going to go ahead and change that from 15 to 0. So now this is more in alignment with the sides of our pill-shaped container here. Okay. The other thing that I noticed is that there's a little bit of margin happening here underneath the title. So I'm going to move over to the right, go to the title settings, and we'll scroll down. And here where we have the margin, I'm going to set this to 0. Okay. So now everything is aligned in the middle quite nicely. The other thing is that this is also supposed to be functioning almost as a button. So we want that when we hover over this, it tells the user that this is a clickable item. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to navigate back over to the right, making sure that my info box is selected. And here on the right, you're going to see the container settings, and there are normal settings here, and then there are also hover settings as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the background here, and let's just set a legitimate background for the normal settings. I'm going to select the lighter, subtle light color here for that. And then for the hover, clicking on the hover tab, I'm going to set a hover background. And for that one, we're just going to go with a nice dark highlight there for the hover. So now notice when I hover over it, it turns darker. Matter of fact, why don't we just use our highlight color? And that way it's even darker. Now notice when this happens, the color of the text is not changing. So we can fix that very simply. Just scroll down to the text settings here. So under the Style tab, if we scroll down, and here where we have the title settings, you can see the title color. Let's set the initial color. So our initial color is going to be our accent color, and our hover color will be a light color. And this way, when we hover over it, we can still see the text. Now, one subtle thing that I like to do is, if you notice under the container settings here, there is an opportunity to enable a box shadow. I'm going to go ahead and toggle that on. And that's going to just add a very subtle box shadow here. Okay, so Here you can go ahead and set up what you want your box shadow to look like. So over here, I'm going to go ahead and click on the color, select my highlight color. I don't want this to be inset. You can see how the shadow's on the inside. We don't want that. So let's turn off this inset. I want it to be on the outside. So I'm going to select the color here. And we're just going to make this very, very subtle. Very, very subtle. So it's going to be really light. So now we have our button completed. We're going to add 2 more buttons. And to do that is really easy. Let's just go ahead and select the button. And then we're going to go up to the short menu here. Click on the vertical ellipsis. Click on duplicate. And we'll do that one more time. And then we'll just drag the new buttons we just created into the adjacent columns. Okay. Then we have to change the labels here. So let's make this one new arrivals. And this will be on sale. Okay. And we can change the images as well. So I can select this one, move over to the right, go to style, go to the media settings, click on edit image, and we'll select this as an image. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing for the items on sale, style, media settings, edit image. So now we have our links. Let's go ahead and save the work and view the page. And we can see it coming right here. Okay. Bestsellers, new arrivals, and on sale. Okay. All right. So we've added in the collections section. Next, let's add one more section to this page, and then we'll add a final section, and then our home page should be completed by then. We just want to make sure we have enough areas for people to click through and for us to make the sales as we're building out the sales homepage for our e-commerce website. Let's go ahead and add the next section, which is just basically going to be a section with some text and some images to showcase the clothing that we have for this e-commerce site. So let's go ahead and click on Edit Page in the admin toolbar. That'll take us to the editing interface. We're going to scroll down, select the last section that we just created, click on the vertical ellipsis, and then click on Add After. That's going to give us a new block line. I'm going to type a /, start typing the words row, and we want to select the Kadence row layout. And for this layout, we want a 2-column layout. And then for the alignment, we want this to be full width. For the content width, we're going to select that we want to use the theme's content inner width. Then we're going to go ahead and increase the padding on top. Let's just set that to 4x large. And then on the bottom, the padding will also be 4x large. Now we're ready to go ahead and add our content. So on the left-hand side will be some placeholder content. On the right-hand side, we'll have a couple of images. And we're going to go ahead and style those images so that they're staggered and overlapping each other. So to add some content here, let's just use the content that we have over here. This is all placeholder content anyway. So I'm going to click on the first title here and then hold on my Shift key, click on the description. I'm now going to press Command C. That's going to copy those 2 blocks. I'm going to scroll down, click on the plus sign in the first column, add a paragraph block, and then I'm going to press Command V to go ahead and paste those blocks in there. Okay. Control V if you're using a PC. I'm going to click on the Enter key, and here I want to add a button. I'm just going to go ahead and copy the button that's here. So I'm going to select it. I'm going to press Command C to copy the button. I'm going to come back, click on the block line, and I'm going to press Command V to go ahead and paste that button there. So now we have our text in the first column. In the second column, we're going to have our images, and I want them to be overlapping each other. So I'm going to click on the plus sign. I'm going to select that I want a row layout. The row layout is going to be a 2-column row layout. In the first column, we're going to go ahead and add an image. So I'm going to click on the plus sign. I want an image block from Kadence. Click on select an image, and we'll use this as our first image. In the second column, let's go ahead and repeat that process. Click on the plus sign, select the Kadence image block, click on select image, and we'll select this image as our second image. Okay, so far this looks pretty good. So to style this image, these images a little bit, I'm going to select the first image, move over to the right, go to style, and for the border radius, I'm going to go ahead and link all the edges, and we'll set this to 8 pixels. I'll also repeat that process for the second image. Just select it, go to style, go to the border radius, link all the edges, and we'll add 8 pixels. It's going to soften up the picture a little bit for us. Okay, next what I want to do is I want to create an overlapping effect here between these two pictures. So I'm going to select the row, move over to the right, go to advanced, and what I want to do is I want to eliminate any padding that is contained within the row. So I'm just going to zero this out. The other thing that I want to do is under the row layout tab, I want to go ahead and eliminate the column gutter. Right now it's at a medium. I'm going to set that to none. Okay, so everything will be flush against each other. I'm going to select the first image. I'm going to move over to the right, go to advanced, and for the margin, I'm going to toggle on the custom size setting. Okay, that'll allow me to be able to add my own custom sizes in here. So I'm going to click on the top field and we're going to add a margin of 80 pixels. On the right field, we're going to add a margin of negative 40 pixels. That's going to cause it to overlap underneath the image next to it. Okay. And then for the bottom, I'm going to leave that at 0. But for the left, we're going to set this to be 40 pixels as well. And that's going to go ahead and help us maintain the size of our initial image. Okay. And now we have this nice overlapping effect. The next thing I'm going to do is I want to create some spacing between the two sections here. And I'm also going to vertically align everything to the middle. So I'm going to select the row layout. I'm going to go over here to the short menu, click on the vertical alignment, and we're going to set that to align in the middle. That's going to go ahead and align everything to the center. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add some padding to this section to create some more space, some more gap between the two sections. So I'm going to go ahead and select the section, move over to the right, go to advanced, and on the right hand side for the padding, we're going to go ahead and increase this all the way to 5XL. Okay, all right, so this section is pretty much done. It looks great. We do have one more thing to do, and that's to go ahead and set it up for mobile devices. I'm going to select the row, move over to the right, and under the layout tab, I'm going to go ahead and select the tablet view. That's going to show me what it's going to look like on a tablet, and as you can see, it's holding our 5XL padding that we put here before. So I'm going to go ahead and select this section, move over to the right, go to advanced. Under the padding here, I'm going to go ahead and select the right padding, and we're just going to go ahead and zero this out. Okay. All right, so now this looks great. I'm actually happy with the way this looks over here right now. Let's go ahead and take a look at what it looks like with the mobile view. Okay, so I'm going to select the row, click on, make sure that I'm selecting the mobile device, which is the smallest one here, smallest view, and we're going to scroll down and let's take a look at how this looks. So I can see our image is flying off the viewport here. I'm going to select the image, move over to the right, go to advanced, and here where we have the margin, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and remove those margins. So just set them to none. This will be none, and on the left will be none. So now our image is back in the viewport again. Okay, and that's really all we needed to do for this section here. I'm going to go ahead and save my work and view it on the front end. All right, that looks great. Okay, so our homepage for our e-commerce website is coming together really nicely. Let's go ahead and add a testimonial section to this. So I'm going to go back to the admin toolbar here, click on Edit Page. It's going to take me to the editing interface. I'm going to scroll down to where we created that last section. And here where we have the new block line, I'm going to go ahead and add a new row. Now, if you're not seeing this new block line, then just go ahead and click on the vertical ellipsis here, click on Add After, and you'll get that block line there. Okay, so I'm going to type a /. It's going to bring up my recently used rows. I'm going to go ahead and click on the row layout. And for this one, we're just going to select a simple 3-column row. Then I'm going to go ahead and configure this row. I'm going to set the alignment here to full width, and the inner content width is going to be the inner content width of the theme. Now that I have my columns nicely centered, let's go ahead and add some padding to the top of this. We'll add a 4x large padding to the top and the 4x large padding to the bottom. Okay. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add an image here to this row. So select the row, move over to the right where you have the row settings, and we're going to select the Style tab, and then go ahead and click on the background image field. And let's go ahead and add an image. Now that our image is added, scroll down and look for the background image attachment. Let's go ahead and make this a parallax image. That way it stays fixed to the background while the foreground of the page scrolls up and down. Okay, next we're going to add a background overlay settings because we want our text to show up on this background. So I'm going to open up the background overlay settings here, select the overlay color, we'll choose our highlight color, and we'll increase this to 60%. Make it a little darker. And then the final thing I'm going to do here, because we're going to be adding some text to this for our testimonials, I'm going to go ahead and set the text color settings for this row. And let's set that to white. Now we're ready to add our content to this section. Okay, so to add our content, we'll start with the first section and we want to add testimonials. And fortunately for us, Kadence has a pretty nice testimonial block. So just click on the plus sign in the first section here and we can type the word testimonial to pull up the Kadence testimonial block. Let's go ahead and select it and we can see the block here. So the Kadence testimonial block is comprised of a parent testimonial block and then a testimonial block inside with components. So if I open this up in list view, you'll see here where we have the parent testimonial block and then the actual testimonial elements on the inside. What's great about this block is that you can actually choose which elements you would like to remain in your testimonial. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and close this. And let's move over here to the right side where we have the testimonial settings. Okay. Now, if you select a testimonial, you're going to be looking at the inner testimonial settings, meaning if I open this up in list view again, you're going to be working on this element here. What we want to configure is the elements that comprise of the testimonial block, and that's actually in the parent testimonial block. So you can either select it here, or if you selected the testimonial and you're looking at the settings here, you can click on View Parent Block Settings, and it will take you to the parent block settings for the testimonials. So I'm going to start here, and we're just going to basically set this up for the elements that we want to use. So if you click on the Style tab, you'll see all these different elements. We got icon settings, title settings, rating settings, content settings, media settings, name settings, and occupation settings. So each one corresponds to a component within the testimonial. In this case, I really only want to use the text. I would love to have the image, the name of the person leaving the testimonial, and then we can leave the title also in place as well, or the occupation in place as well. I'm not going to be using the title, so let's go ahead and disable that by selecting the title settings and toggle off show title. I would also like to have the ratings show up in the testimonial as well. So over here on the right hand side below the title settings, open up the rating settings tab and we'll toggle on to show the ratings, and you can see it there. Okay, so now I have everything that I need for my testimonial. The only thing that's left to do is to go ahead and just populate this with the content of the testimonial. For now, we're going to be using placeholder content, so it really doesn't matter what we put in here, but let's just put something in there so that we can hold the space. And then for the name here, any name will do. We'll just say John Smith. And instead of the occupation, let's just put where they're from. So we'll say Buffalo, New York. All right. Now, I also like to add an image so that I have a little bit of a power testimony here. So I'm going to click on the image here and let's just grab one of the images that we already have. And now our testimonial is pretty much ready. We just need to style this a little bit so that it looks a little bit more prominent. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and select the parent block settings again. Let's scroll down and we'll start with the content settings. I just want that to be a little bit larger, so I'm going to set that to a medium size. And then for the name settings here, so go to the name settings. I would like that to be capitalized for the name, and then everything else stay the same. And then for the image, I know most people are used to this circular image, but let's deviate a little bit from that. Let's go to the media settings. And here I'm just going to set a border radius of 12 pixels. Okay, so now I also want to make this show up a little bit more, but I don't want to add any more overlay to the background here. So I'm just going to add it to the testimonial itself. So if we select that testimonial block, move over here to the right, go to View Parent Block Settings, you'll see that we have a background property over here. I'm going to click on the color selector, add our highlight color. It's going to give us a dark background there. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to reduce the opacity in here. And let's just set this to 60. And that gives us a nice subtle background. We can still see the image through it and everything. Okay. And then the final thing I want to do there also on the background is I want to set a border radius. And I want this to be a little bit more stylized. So on the top is going to be a 0 pixel. On the right, bottom, and left, we'll make all that 60 pixels. Okay, so that gives us some really nice styling for our testimonial block. Okay, then one more thing, let's go to advanced on the main testimonial block here. It already has a padding of 20 pixels. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the custom default padding there. That way I'm using clamp settings, and I'm going to link all the sides, and we'll go ahead and add our own padding here. And I'll set this to be medium padding at 32 pixels. Okay, so now we have our testimonial block, and you can see it pretty well now. All right, so next, all I need to do is go ahead and duplicate this testimonial into the other sections here. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on the testimonial itself, and make sure you're selecting the parent block itself so that you're copying the main block here. Click on the vertical ellipsis, click on copy. Then we will click in the second section here, add a regular paragraph block, and then on your keyboard, press Command V to go ahead and paste that in, or Control V if you're using a PC, and then do the same thing for the third column. Okay, and now our testimonial section is completed. Let's go ahead and save our work. And then as usual, we're going to go ahead and take a look at what this looks like on a mobile device. So I'm going to click the row, move over to the right, check out the layout settings here, and then I'm going to select the tablet view to see how this looks on a tablet. Scroll down, and it does look a little bit smushed on the tablet. So what I want to do here is just go ahead and change the layout. So let's change the layout to collapsing all the rows. And this looks a lot better, a lot cleaner, a lot more readable. And then let's also take a look at it on the mobile device or a cell phone. And if we scroll down to that section, we can see that everything aligns beautifully. All right, this looks great. Let's go ahead and save it. And now we'll check it out on the front end of the site. So let's view the site. Our home page looks really nice. Okay, next, let's go ahead and add the final section for the home page. And once we add that final section, we'll go ahead and move on to the e-commerce functionality. So let's go ahead and add the final section to our home page, which is basically going to be a visual call to action / closeout section. So to do that, we're going to go ahead and navigate back to the editing interface. Let's go ahead and click on Edit Page in the admin toolbar. We'll scroll down to the bottom here, click on the block line. We'll do a /. We'll search for a row layout for Kadence. And for this one, we're going to do a simple 3-column layout. We're going to select the row, and for the alignment, we're going to make this full width. And we're going to leave everything as full width, so we're not going to make any changes to the inner content width. We're going to be using the full width of this row. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add our 4x large padding. And we'll do the same thing here. Okay, now for this section, I want to have an image on the left, an image on the right, and then my text is going to be in the middle. So let's just go ahead and set up the text now. So let's just grab our placeholder text, which is this text right here. I'm going to click on the title, hold down my Shift key, click on the description, Command C to copy, click on the plus sign, add a paragraph block, then Command V or Control V to go ahead and paste. I'm going to hit the Enter key, and then let's grab a copy of a button here. Let's copy the button and click on the block line inside of the section and add our button. Okay, that looks great. Then the next thing that I want to do here is I want to go ahead and add my images to the sections here. So I'm going to select the section, the first one, move over to the right, go to the style, click on the select image for the background image field. And we're going to select this image here. All right, and then I'm going to repeat that process for the right side. Click on the section, click on the style tab, click on the background image field, and for this one we'll grab this image. Okay, excellent. Now for one thing we're going to do for this row, I'm going to select the row here and I'm going to move over to the right, go to the advanced, and we're going to set the structure settings to have the inner column height be 100%. That's going to keep everything even and also create some more spacing here for our sections. But we don't want to just rely on that. I actually want this to be a little bit taller. And I also want, when this is seen on a mobile device, that the sections don't collapse. So I'm going to select the first section, move over to the right, go to advanced, and we'll add some styling to this. So the structure setting here, we're going to open this up and I'm going to set a minimum height of 600. I'm also going to do the same thing on the right hand side here. Minimum height of 600. And then for this middle section, I want to create some spacing there. So I'm going to click on the section, go to advanced, unify the padding here, and we're going to just place a large padding here. Okay, just like that. So we have some good, decent spacing here. All right, next I want to style these image backgrounds or these sections on the left and right. So I'm going to select the first section, move over here to the right to the settings, go to style, I'm going to scroll down. We're going to look for the border styles, and here we're going to see the border radius, and on the right radius here I'm going to add an 80 pixel radius, and also on the bottom I'm going to add an 80 pixel radius as well. I'm also going to do a similar thing in reverse on the section all the way to the right. So select the section, go to style, scroll down, go to border styles, and for this one the top will be 80 pixels. And this time the left will be 80 pixels. So this will be the left bottom here. Okay. All right. So kind of have this kind of very nice styled layout here. And then for the content over here, I'm going to select this section. And under the general settings here, I'm going to go ahead and set the vertical alignment to be in the center, to be middle, just like that. Okay. So now I have a very nice, simple, clean section, showcases some of the clothing that's offered in the store, and then we have a nice final call to action over here with a button. Okay, next let's go ahead and make sure that this looks good on a mobile device. So I'm going to select the overall row. And I'm going to select a tablet layout to see how that looks. If we scroll down, so we can see here that this doesn't look very good on tablet, so we're going to go ahead and just collapse the rows. Okay, so now that looks a lot better. Okay, and I think I like the size of the image. I like that you can see the full image this way, so I'm not going to tamper with any of the sizing here, but I do want to take a look at it on a mobile device, so I'm going to select the mobile view here, and as we scroll down, I really like the way that looks, and I really like the way that looks as well. Now let's see here, if I reduce the size here, so if I select a section, go to advanced, the minimum height, and set this to 300 pixels, see how that looks. That also looks pretty good as well. Doesn't take up as much real estate. So let's do that, let's mimic that for the other image as well. So we're clicking on the section. Remember, these are background images for that section. And all right, so this looks good. And let's go back to our tablet view. That looks great on a tablet. Everything looks fantastic here. Okay, let's also just do a few tweaks here. I'm going to look at it on the mobile device. So I'm always doing this. I look at the mobile view just to make sure that everything looks good. Now, in looking at this though, I am noticing that over here there's just a lot of space. It's this back-to-back image. This text, we have image, image, more image. So let's see if we can actually clean up this row a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up in desktop. Let's scroll back up to this row right here. So on desktop, this looks great. I like the way that this looks. But on tablet, on tablet it also looks good as well. It's the mobile view that I'm not really comfortable with. So let's see if we can give this a much better looking layout. Okay, so first let's open this up in desktop. Let's go back to this section. I'm going to open this up in list view. And the only reason I do this is just so I can help you understand the layout here. So I've got the row layout. I have two sections. And then in the second section, there's another row layout in here. And then there are two more sections. Okay, so what I would like to see happen is I'd like a little bit more consolidation on the mobile view so that it's not eating up so much space here. Okay, so one way that we could do that is first we could change the layout for this row layout here. Okay, so if I select this row layout, this is the row layout that contains the images. I notice that we are collapsing the rows here. One thing that we could do is we could actually just keep it at equal sizes like this. So you see they're side by side, and that's going to go ahead and reduce how much real estate that's taking up, how much space. And then the other thing that I want to do here is just add some spacing. So let's see, at a medium, that looks good. How about a small? A small is just great, and that looks fine. Okay, so now this looks a little bit better, a little bit more consolidated, but I also want it to still be associated with this text over here. It's kind of strange to see the text and then some images. So what I want to do is I want this to actually be flipped. So to do that, I'm going to go to the main row layout itself. So this is the main row layout. This is an inner row layout inside of a section. I'm going to go to that main row layout, making sure that I'm still in tablet in the mobile view. Scroll down, look, see where it says collapse order. I'm going to go ahead and click on this drop down, and let's reverse that. It's going to place it right there at the top. Okay, so now this looks more together. We have two nice images side by side. We have our text, and then we go right into the testimonials. So if we go and look at this on the tablet view, we can see that our tablet view still holds, still maintains our desktop view. Desktop view still looks good. Let's close out this list view. We don't need that anymore. And yeah, everything still looks great. Tablet view, very nice, and mobile view. So you'll always want to be checking to make sure that your layouts look good on all devices, and all this looks really nice. All right, let's go ahead and save our work and view it on the front end. Okay, so this is our full homepage layout, and this looks great. It is now ready for us to add our products to it and start building out our e-commerce functionality. Remember this section that we added in here? Notice that there are these two pieces there is some space here on the sides. We really don't want that space. So this space is coming from the default padding that comes with this row. So let's go ahead and click on edit page, and we'll eliminate that. Scroll back down to that section. Okay, and we'll go over here to the right, go to advanced, and it's right over here. So we're just going to go ahead and zero this out, make sure it says none, zero that out, click on save, view the page, and if we scroll down, we can see that now it's flush against the edges of the screen. Okay, one final check for the mobile. We'll go ahead and right click, click on inspect, and what we can do now is basically check it out on the mobile device. So this looks good. Everything looks good. Everything is aligning correctly. Remember this area that we corrected, that looks good. Testimonials, very readable. And even that final section looks awesome. If we look at this on a tablet, so let's check out the iPad mini here. And we can see that also still looks good. This looks great. Very happy with the way this turned out. Okay, so next what we're going to work on is now we're going to go ahead and add our products to the page. We're going to walk through WooCommerce and its functionality. And then we'll have to come back to this page to add our products to the page. We'll set up our header, and we'll set up our footer, and we will be completed with the e-commerce build out using 100% free tools, including the free version of the Kadence Theme and the free version of Kadence Blocks. Okay, so earlier in this tutorial, we installed the WooCommerce plugin, which is responsible for handling all the e-commerce functionality for our website. Let's go ahead and just walk through the settings for WooCommerce quickly and then begin the process of adding our products. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate back to the dashboard. And once you're here in the admin menu, you're going to see WooCommerce. You're going to see products, payments, analytics, and marketing. Okay. These 5 menu items are all related to your e-commerce operations. Typically, I like to start at WooCommerce and I like to go to the settings. And this will take you to the settings screen where you can go ahead and customize how you want your e-commerce to function for your site. The first tab in the settings is going to be the general tab. And this is where you would put your address. And then you can also select your selling location, whether or not you want to sell to all countries or just sell to specific countries. And then you also set your shipping location as well, whether or not you want to ship to all the countries you sell to, or ship to all countries, or ship to specific countries. You can also enable taxes, enable coupons, and set your currency options. The next setting tab is going to be the products settings. And under the product settings, you have 5 additional tabs. You have the general, inventory, downloadable products, approved download directories, and advanced tabs. The 2 that are going to be pertinent to this tutorial are really going to be general and inventory. These last 3 have to do with if you're selling downloadable products. So under the general tab, this is where you can choose your base shop page. Now you can create a custom shop page, and if you were to do that, then this is where you would go ahead and designate that page by clicking on the drop down and selecting the page from the list here. The other thing you can customize is your cart behavior. So right now, the way that it's set up with this box unchecked, where you can redirect to the cart page after a successful addition, and then you have enable Ajax add to cart buttons on archives, and that is checked. So with this setting, essentially when somebody clicks on add to cart, they will stay on the page and it will just give them a notification that an item has been added to the cart, and then a button to let them know to go ahead and view the cart. Or they could stay and continue to shop. If you check the redirect to the cart page after successful addition, if you check this, then what happens is the moment somebody clicks on add to cart on a product, it immediately redirects them to the cart. You can also set up your measurements here. You can enable reviews and customize your product ratings. Under the inventory tab, under the product settings, this is where you can enable or disable stock management if that is applicable to your store. The downloadable products basically controls what happens when people buy downloads. Approved download directories more has to do with where those downloads are stored in your install, and then advanced has to do with your database and how the database looks up your products. Under the shipping tab, this is where you can set up the shipping for your e-commerce website. And the way this works is you set up shipping zones, and you can set up as many shipping zones as you want and apply different shipping options to those zones. So if you're looking over here right now, we have 2 zones by default. We have the United States zone and you have the rest of the world. Each one can have different shipping methods applied to them. If you click on edit on one of these zones, you can see the shipping options here, and these shipping options can be customized. So the free shipping, for example, has been customized so that the minimum order amount is $50, but you can change this. It can be anything you want. It could be $200 if you want. Okay, but for this store, we're saying at $50, you get free shipping. And then here we have ground shipping, right? So if you click on edit, you can see the cost of the ground shipping, but I can also add additional shipping, or I could delete the shipping method. So I can I can say I want to add a shipping method, and let's make it a flat rate, and click on continue. And I don't have to keep the name at flat rate, so I could say overnight shipping. I can choose whether this is taxable or not, and I could set this cost, and let's say it's $75 to get it over to you overnight. Create and save, and now you can see we have more shipping options. Okay, over here where we have the shipping settings, this is where you can choose to hide shipping costs until an address is entered. You can hide the shipping rates when free shipping is available. So if you leave this unchecked, what will happen is it'll show the free shipping option along with all the other rates. Typically, I like to have this checked when I have free shipping as an option. That way, once the user or the site visitor has reached the free shipping threshold, they don't see any other shipping options other than the free shipping. Now, one reason why you may want to leave this checked is if you have expedited shipping for an additional cost. And if you have that, then you definitely want to give them the option of getting the expedited shipping versus the free shipping. So this is really entirely up to you. Then we have shipping classes, and typically you use classes to customize the shipping rates for different groups of products, such as heavy items or items that require higher fees. And then you can also set up local pickup, which is typically free, but maybe you may want to charge for it. You can, and you can also add the pickup locations here as well. The next tab in the WooCommerce settings is going to be your payments tab, and this is where you'll configure payments for your online store. Essentially, you can set up Woo payments so people can pay you with a credit card, PayPal payments so people can pay you with PayPal or Venmo, and you can also take offline payments. Later on in the tutorial, I'll show you how to set up Stripe with your WooCommerce store so people can also pay you with a credit card through Stripe. The next setting tab is going to be the accounts and privacy tab, and this is where you'll configure how your site users will engage with the accounts that they create, or whether or not you will allow them to create an account when they purchase products. The next tab is the emails tab, and this is where you can configure all the emails that go out when people purchase products. So there are emails that will be sent to you as the site owner or the store owner, and then there are also emails that are sent to the customer, either when they have purchased an order, when you've completed the order, if you refund an order, or if they need to reset a password or a new account. All of those emails can be managed and configured here in this tab. You also have an integration tab and then the site visibility tab as well. Now, the site visibility tab allows you to set up a coming soon page while you're working on your e-commerce site. And once you're ready, you can go ahead and click the live setting here, and that will basically launch your store. There's a point of sale tab where you can set up the details for your store, and basically this will be shown on your email receipts. And then the advanced tab is essentially where you have access to the REST API, webhooks, and also upcoming features that can be turned on and off. As a matter of fact, if you go over here where it says features, you can see some features that you can test that are in beta with WooCommerce, and any of their edge features will be listed over here. Okay, and that is all of the settings that are contained in WooCommerce. Next, let's go ahead and create our first product. To create our first product, just navigate over to the admin side menu and look for the products menu item. You'll see it directly underneath the WooCommerce menu item. Now, before we create our new product, which you will do by clicking on add new product, we're actually going to create our product categories first. That way, when we create our product, we can go ahead and drop it in a category. So hover over the products menu item, and then in the flyout menu that appears, go ahead and click on categories. And from here, we're going to go ahead and add our categories. So the first one we'll add are shirts. Then let's add shoes. We'll add belts. And the final one will be accessories. Okay, so now our categories are added. And if you ever wanted to, you can always reorganize the order of these categories. So let's go ahead and organize these according to the way that we created it. All right, now we can go ahead and create our product. So to create a product, just navigate over to the admin side menu here. Click on add new product. That'll take you to the product creation interface. Here you'll see an area for the title, the product description. Here you'll add your product data such as the price and inventory amounts. And then you can add a short description. And then over here on the right hand side is where you would add the product image. Here are the categories that we created. You can add product tags, brands, and then when you're ready to publish your product, just click on the publish button and that will publish the product to the store. So let's go ahead and do that right now. So our first product is going to be our black dress shoe. Let's add a description. And then here for the price, we're going to go ahead and add this as a $48 shoe. Now here where it says product data, you can see that this is going to be a simple product. So in WooCommerce, you can create a simple product, a group product, which is a group of products together, an external affiliate product, and a variable product. A variable product is a product that has multiple attributes, such as color, size, and more. So this is not going to be a variable product, it's just going to be a simple product. You can also have virtual products, and then you can also select that the product has a downloadable aspect to it, okay, or products that give access to a downloadable item. In this case, we're just selling a physical shoe, so we'll just call this a simple product. If you had a sale price, this is where you would add it. This is where you control the inventory. This is where you set up your shipping criteria. And then you can also have linked products. Your attributes are the attributes such as the length or weight, color, or size that are going to be applied to your variations. And then under advanced, you can add a purchase note and menu order. And then get more options just means getting more functionality for your e-commerce store. Okay, let's add a product short description. So we'll just add a very short placeholder text here. And now let's add a product image. Just navigate over here to the right, click on set product image. And we have a shoe here already. Okay, there's our product image. And then you can add additional images. If you have more pictures of your product, you can create a product gallery that will be also placed on the product page. We're going to go ahead and add this to the shoes category, and we can add a product tag of shoes. Let's go ahead and add that. Okay. I'll leave the brand alone for now. We're not going to utilize that. It's just another way to categorize the product, and we're pretty much done with creating our first product. Let's go ahead and publish this, and now let's take a look at what this looks like on the front end. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on View Product. And here we can see what the product looks like on the front end of the website. So here's our product image. And then on the right, we can see the title, product price, the short description, the add to cart button next to the quantity selector. And then we have the main description here at the bottom. Now, one of the things that the Kadence theme allows you to do is to further customize your product pages if you're using WooCommerce. Let me show you how that works. So you go ahead and navigate to the admin toolbar and open up the customizer by clicking on Customize. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and select the WooCommerce setting here. And then from there, select the single product layout setting. And here are all the settings that you can apply to your product pages with Kadence. So the first one is the above content layout setting. And here you can add an extra title area to that product page, which will show up at the very top. Or you can choose to have breadcrumbs, which is just basically the hierarchy of pages to get to the product page. Or you can choose to have nothing, where nothing shows up there at all. I prefer to have the breadcrumbs. And then the next setting is going to be your product layout. So by default, you're going to have the normal layout, which is what we're looking at here. But you can also have a narrow layout where everything is more narrow and centered in the page. You can have a full width layout where everything stretches to both ends or both sides of your screen. And then you can choose to have a sidebar layout with the sidebar on the left or the sidebar on the right. I prefer to have the normal layout. That seems to be the most balanced layout for this particular e-commerce site. Okay, the next is going to be your content style. So right now we're looking at an unboxed content style. If you want to have this boxed, then go ahead and select the boxed setting layout. And you'll see now that the product is now boxed inside of the page. Okay, I like to have it unboxed for this particular tutorial. And then our content vertical spacing, you can choose to disable this or keep it enabled. I'm going to keep it enabled. And then you have your product elements. So of all these elements, you can turn these on. You can control the visibility of each of the elements. So the title, the rating, the price, excerpt, even your add to cart button, you can actually toggle that on and off. So I can toggle this off if I want. And now you're looking at something that's more like a catalog type of product page where no one can really click anything to buy the product. But if you want to sell, then you definitely want to toggle this on. The other thing is anywhere you notice that there's a drop down next to any one of these elements, then that means there are extra settings that are applicable there. So for instance, the add to cart, if I click on the drop down, it can allow me to choose the button size. So right now it's at normal size. We can do a medium size. That makes it a little bit larger. Or you can do a large size, which will stretch it out even further. Okay, let's keep that at normal. Okay, and then here where we have the extras and the payments, notice that these by default, the visibility is turned off. Let's turn these on. So if you turn on the extras, you'll notice that you have additional content below the add to cart button. And you can control this content or change it as you see fit. If I click on the drop down arrow here, I can change this to say anything that I want. Right now it's talking about the free shipping on orders over $50, which is appropriate. But if you had a different thing that you wanted to say here, you can completely remove this and have it say whatever you want. And then you can control what features are displayed. So right now this is showing a satisfaction guaranteed, no hassle refunds, and secure payments, which is fine for this tutorial. But again, you can change it. And if you wanted to add an additional feature, you can go ahead and do that. So for instance, I can come over here and say 24/7 support. Okay, and it would add that additional feature here for me. Okay, and if you don't want it, then you can go ahead and remove it. So you can have up to 5 features there. And then for the payments, if you toggle the payments on, then it will show you the secure payments badges. And what this does is just basically adds a trust indicator for your product page. So people can see that it's guaranteed safe checkout. You can use a Visa, MasterCard, or American Express, and it just builds more trust for your page. Let's go ahead and leave that on. Okay. Next is the product meta and the ability to be able to share products. And then you can also customize the quantity selector. So right now the quantity selector has these up and down arrows, but if you toggle the use custom quantity plus and minus setting here, if you toggle that on, it'll change it to a plus or minus setting. Okay, so if this is more aesthetically pleasing to you, then you can go ahead and leave that setting on. The product variation display is for if you have a variable product where you're showing colors or sizes or any other kind of attribute, then you can choose to have that display horizontally or vertically. And then the tab style applies to the additional information here at the bottom where you have the description and the reviews. So if you want it to be normal, then this is what it normally looks like. If you select center, then it will give you this kind of a layout where the tab titles are centered instead, and then the rest of the information is in here under the tabs. You can choose to show the default headings in the tab content. So by default heading, what it's saying is, since this is a description, it's going to show description inside of the tabbed area here. If I toggle this off, it's then going to remove that additional title, and it will just have this be the title. I tend to like having this on as well. There's nothing wrong with a little repetition, and it just kind of orders it better for the person so they know exactly what tab they're looking at. Okay. You can choose to show weight and dimensions at the additional information tab. So we're not showing the additional information tab here because we didn't add any additional information under the shipping. But when you do that, that does display over here as well. And then choose whether or not to show related products. So we're not seeing any related products now because we've only added one product. But once we add additional products, add them in those similar categories, then you'll see the related products here. And then this controls the related products columns, whether you want 2 columns, 3 columns, or a maximum of 4 columns. Okay, so let's go ahead and publish this with our new settings. And we'll see here, this is what our product page now looks like. Okay, so next what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add additional products. Okay, I'll do this behind the scenes just really quickly to be able to save time on the tutorial. And then we'll go ahead and go through the entire site and finish up our settings for WooCommerce so we have a functional e-commerce website. Okay, so I've gone ahead and uploaded more products to the store. So if we go to the shop page now, we'll notice that in the shop archive page, we have all of the products that I've added in here. Okay, it's about 2 pages of products. Also, if you navigate back to the dashboard and we go to the products tab, click on all products, you'll see all the products here as well. So now we can go ahead and incorporate these products into our website and set up our store properly, because one thing we don't want really is for people to go to the shop like this and see all the products mixed in like this. It'd be much better if we break these out into different categories. This way the navigation is a lot easier for your site visitors and potential buyers. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and start separating our products into different categories, and this will all start with the header of the website and the navigation. So let's go ahead and take care of that now. Let's start by creating a clear navigation for our store. And the way we're going to do this is we're basically going to create a menu item for each category of products that we offer. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate to the name of the website here in the top corner of the admin toolbar. Click on menus, and that'll take us to the menu editing interface. You can also get here by going to the dashboard, going to Appearance, and clicking on Menus, and that'll bring you here as well. Okay, we're going to create our main navigation, and we'll call it exactly that, main navigation. And we'll indicate that we want this to be our primary navigation, and we also want it to be our mobile navigation as well. Let's go ahead and click on Create Menu. All right, so now our menu is created. I'm going to move over to the left, and we're going to click on View All. And for now, we're going to go ahead and add some pages to our navigation. So I'm going to add the home page. For now, we may choose to remove this a little bit later, but for now, we'll keep it there for the ease of navigation as we're building out the site. So I definitely want the home page there. But the other pages that I want is I want the categories of products that we're selling. Okay. Now, if you look over here, we'll see pages, we see posts, we have custom links, we have categories, which are related to the post categories that comes in WordPress, not our product categories. And then we have the WooCommerce endpoints, which is mainly for the My Account dashboard. So we're not seeing the product categories here by default. So to be able to see those product categories, we need to go ahead and turn them on. And to do that, we're going to go over here to Screen Options on the top right, click on the drop down here, and we're looking for our product category. So we can see all the ones that are checked. Those are the ones that display in the menu items. We want the product categories as well. So go ahead and check that box. And once you check the box, if you look down here now, we now have product categories. So we can go ahead and close this. If we open up the product categories, we see now we have shirts, accessories, shoes, and belts. So let's go ahead and select all four, and we'll add that to the menu. And this way, when people visit our site, they can go directly to the category that they want to shop in. So we've got shirts. Let's go ahead and put the shoes just by dragging it up right after the shirts, and then belts right after shoes, and then we have accessories. Okay, great. Let's go ahead and save this, and then let's add one more menu item. I like to add the cart page here, and that way it makes it easy for the site visitor to find the cart at any time so they can see what items they have in the cart. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on Save. Now when we navigate to the front end of the site, we can see now that our navigation has changed. So we have home, shirts, shoes, belts, accessories, and the cart. And if I click on shirts, I'll see all the shirts. Click on shoes, we see all our shoes. Belts has all of our belts, and accessories has all of our accessories. Okay, and if we go to the cart, well, there's nothing in the cart. Okay, all right. So we now have set up our navigation, and now that we've done this part, we can now actually customize our header. So let's go ahead and customize the header, and then we'll incorporate our products into the home page of the website. Okay, so to customize our header, we're going to do that in the customizer. So go ahead and navigate to the customizer, and then we're going to go to header. And when you click on header, you're going to see some available items that you can add to the header. And then over here at the bottom, you're going to see an interface for you to go ahead and add items to the header. So everything you see here represents this header up here. The header has three sections. There's a top area, there's a middle section or a middle row that currently contains the logo and the primary navigation that we see right now, and then there's a bottom section as well. So there's plenty of space for you to be able to create any kind of header that you want. So the way I like to do this is I typically like to start with the main header, and I'm going to start with the logo. So let's go ahead and click on the logo icon here, and that's going to open up the logo settings here on the left. We're going to click on select logo, and here in the media library I already have a logo that I want to use. I have a dark colored logo, and I also have a light colored logo, and I'll show you what we'll do with this light colored one. But let's start with the dark one first. Okay, so I'm going to select the logo, and let's make sure we have our alt text in place. Click on select, and I'm going to skip the cropping, and that's going to place my logo right here in the header. Okay. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to configure this logo. Right now it's showing the graphical aspect of the logo, and it's showing the textual aspect of the logo as well. And I don't want that. I just want the logo by itself. So if you look over here where it says logo layout, just go ahead and click on logo, and now that text component is now gone. All right, that looks good. Then the next thing that I want to do is I want to go ahead and configure my primary navigation, which is over here. So currently, if we look here in the main row, we can see that it's all the way to the right. You can actually click on it and drag it right into the middle, and that's going to move the navigation right in the middle of the row there. Okay, I'm going to click on the cogwheel. It's going to open up the settings for this navigation, and I'm going to change a few settings here. So the first thing is I want a little bit more spacing. So let's take this from 1.2 ems to just 2 ems. And I typically like to operate in rems, so let's leave it at rems, but 2 rems is great. Then next, I'm going to go over to the Design tab for the navigation. And here, I want to change the navigation font to be all caps. I'm also going to change the size. So I'm going to click on the first field here, and we're going to click on size. And then from here, we're going to change the transform attribute here to all caps. Okay, so it's going to give me everything in all caps. Then I'm going to reduce the size here. So I think I would love this to be 14 pixels. You can still see it, but it's not overpowering the design here. Okay. All right. I like the way that looks. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to add a few more elements here to my header to make it more dynamic. So I'm going to go back to the General tab here, click on the arrow to take us back to the header settings. And here we can see some available items. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this cart widget all the way to the end there. And what that's going to do is it's going to put a cart icon here for me. And if you click on the cogwheel, you'll see the settings for this cart icon. Okay, you can choose to show the item total as it is right here. I like to show the item total. And then you can choose your cart icon. So we have a bag here and a cart here. Since this has to do with clothing, I'm going to go ahead and just leave it as a bag. Okay, and then you have a choice of what you want to happen when people click on the cart. So right now it's set up as a link, which means if somebody were to click on this, then what'll happen is it'll take them to the actual cart page. We also have a pop-out cart where if someone were to click on this, it pops out as a canvas. And then we have a drop-down cart where it'll drop down. Let's take a look at what all 3 of them look like. So right now it's set up as a link. I'm going to go ahead and click on publish. And when we click on the cart, it takes us to the cart page. Okay, let's go ahead and add something to the cart. Let's add this wallet here. Okay. Okay, so this is what the cart page looks like. So if I go back to the home page, click on the cart now, it takes me right to the cart. Okay. Let's go to the customizer. Actually, let's go back home first. Go to the customizer and we'll go to header. We'll navigate to the cart widget and click on the cogwheel. Now let's make it a pop-out cart. And you see how it gives you the option to slide out on the left or slide out on the right. So that means if you were to click on this, it opens up an off-canvas cart, right? Keeping the page in view, and this way you can interact with your cart here in this off-canvas area. Okay, that's the pop-out cart. Let's go ahead and close that. Now let's go ahead and select the drop-down cart. So with the drop-down cart, as you can guess, when you hover over the cart, it shows you a drop-down of your cart. So whichever one you prefer actually looks pretty nice, and it's an excellent navigational tool for your site visitors. So no matter what page they're on, they can always just go over to the cart, hover over it, and see what they have in the cart, and then proceed to the checkout. Or they can view the full cart if they want to as well. Okay, so I think I like the pop-out cart, so I'm going to go ahead and select that one. And I think what's really cool is that everything that we're doing so far is all in the free version of everything. It's free version of Kadence, free version of Kadence Blocks, and also the free version of WooCommerce. So you have all these really cool elements that you can utilize to really make your website look nice and dynamic. All right, let's go ahead and click on publish, and we'll close it here. And then let's test out our cart. So if I go to shirts, click on a collared sweater, click on add to cart. Okay, so of course, if I view the cart, it's going to take me here. And if I click on this cart, it'll show it to me there. And if I navigate away and click on this cart, it'll also show me the items that I have in the cart as well. Okay, so now we see how the cart works, and we can see our header actually looks pretty good. But let's take this a little bit further. Let's actually turn this into a transparent header, and then let's also add our benefit statement at the top for the free shipping on orders of $50 or more. Okay, so let's go back to the customizer. We're going to go back to the header, and this time I'm going to scroll all the way down pass the available items to the transparent header, and I'm going to activate the transparent header for the entire site. So we're going to click on transparent header. I'm going to click on enable transparent header. Okay, so you can see how it immediately places the header on top of the hero section that we have there. Okay. All right. So next, what we need to do is we need to configure the items in there so that they're visible when we have a transparent header. Okay. So to do this, we're going to go ahead and go to the design tab. But before we do that, if you scroll all the way down here in the main general tab, you'll see over here where it says different logo for transparent header. Okay, this is toggled on, and if it's toggled off, please go ahead and toggle it on. Then we're going to click on select image, and remember that reverse logo that we had. We're going to go ahead and select that one, choose, and it's going to place that logo there for us for our transparent header. Okay. Next, let's go ahead and configure our navigation. To do that, I'm going to go to the design tab under the transparent header settings. Okay, so we're going to go to the design tab, and here you'll see all the settings, all the design settings for if you are using a transparent header. Okay, so what we're looking for are the navigation colors, and we're also looking for the cart colors as well. So we're going to scroll down, and you can see here these are the navigation colors. The first color is going to be your initial color. We're going to go ahead and set that to our subtle light color here. Okay, then the next color selector here is our hover color. Let's select that, and we'll make that white. And then the last one is going to be our active color. And you know what? I think what I'd like to do actually is for our hover color and our active color to be the same color. So I'm going to change the hover color to be our accent color, and I'll change the active color to also be our accent color. And that way you can see which page you're on by the active color, and it's a distinct color from the standard color. Okay, so even on hover, we can see that over here. Okay, awesome. That looks pretty good. Next, we're going to look for the cart colors. So if you look all the way at the bottom here, you'll see the cart colors. The first one is going to be the color, so let's just select that one, and we'll make that our subtle white. Okay, the second one is going to be the hover color. Let's make that our accent color. Okay, the third one here, this is going to be the background. We're not going to add a color to this one. Matter of fact, I like to keep this transparent. And then the final color here is the background hover color. We're not going to be utilizing that, so let's go ahead and keep this transparent. Okay, all right. Everything here now looks good. I'm going to go ahead and publish this just to see what it looks like, and then we'll come back to it and we'll set up our tablet and mobile here. So let's just take a look at what it looks like now. All right, I like this. I'm happy with the spacing here, and we can see the navigation. All right, so we have to do two more things. One, we have to make sure this looks good on mobile, and then the second thing, we need to add that notification at the very top for the free shipping. So let's go ahead and do that now. Go ahead and navigate back to the customizer. We'll go to our header. We'll go to the main row here, and what we want to do now is we want to look at this on tablet. So with the main row selected, I'm going to go ahead and click on the tablet/mobile tab here at the bottom tray for the header. All right, so on the tablet mobile, this actually looks just fine. I am happy with the way this looks. If we look at it on a cell phone, that looks great as well. Okay, all right, so very happy with it. Right out of the box, everything looks great. Let's go back to the desktop by clicking on the desktop tab. And what I want to do now is I want to add that notification for free shipping. And for that, I'm going to use this top row in our header. Okay, so the top row right here. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to the center of it, and I'm going to click on the plus sign, and we're going to select the HTML widget. Okay, I'm going to click on the cogwheel. That's going to open up the settings for me here. And we're going to add some text to it here. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in my text, which is free shipping on orders over $50. We can see it over here, right? And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over to the design, and the font color is going to be our highlight color. Okay. And then I'm going to click on the font selection, click on the size, and I'm going to change the capitalization to all caps. So come over here where it says transform, click on the all caps setting, and then we're going to reduce the size of this to 14. Okay, 14 pixels. All right, then the next thing that I want to do is I want to add a background to this. So I'm going to come back here to the header design interface. I'm going to click on the top row cogwheel. Okay. We're going to go to the design tab, and you can see here where it says when transparent top row, when transparent header, top row will be dark. Okay. So I'm going to select this, make sure that it's my dark accent color, which it is. You can see that right here. Okay. And then we're going to add a little bit of padding. So I would like to have 3 pixels on top. Matter of fact, we can just make it all 3 pixels all across the way. There we go. Okay, so gives it a little bit of spacing so that you can still see the offer. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this on tablet and mobile. So when I go to tablet and mobile, notice that we don't have that there. Okay, and that's because on tablet and mobile, you have a new design interface that you can go ahead and style, okay, so that it can be different from what you have on desktop. So same thing, we're going to come over here, click on the plus sign. We're going to select that we want the HTML widget. I'm going to click on the cogwheel to open up the settings on the left hand side. I'm going to go to the general tab, and let's go ahead and paste in the same offer, free shipping on orders over $50. We're going to go to the design tab here, and we're going to set the color to be our accent color. And then I'm also going to change the font here, the font size, to be 14 and all caps so we can still see it. Okay, this looks great. Then I'm also going to click on the top row here, and I want to make sure that the top row background is also a dark color. So right now this is set to the desktop. I'm going to go ahead and select the tablet view, and I'm going to apply that dark accent color as well. We'll go to the mobile view, make sure that it still registers, and it still does. Okay. And then there's a little bit of too much padding here between the text here. Okay, and I know where that's coming from, but just to be sure, I'm going to go ahead and set the padding to be 3 pixels on top. Make sure that it's all the same. Okay. And then to get this to be not so much padding on top and the bottom, we're going to go back. We're going to go to the HTML widget. I'm going to click on the fonts. We're going to go to the size, and you see here where we have the line height. Okay, so here where we have the line height, let's go ahead and reduce that line height. Start it off at 1. Okay, and that's much better. Okay. All right. Let's go ahead and publish our work, and let's view it on the front end. Okay, that looks really good. Let's look at it on a mobile device through the Chrome Inspector. And you can see here it shows up very well on mobile. Okay, so I'm very happy with the way this looks. Let's go ahead and close this out. All right, so now that we've set this up like this, and we've made it a transparent header on the website, when we go to our inner categories, okay, you can see over here that it's now using our regular header, okay? But I actually wanted to still use the transparent header, okay? And I'll show you how to configure your archive pages so that everything looks uniform with the home page, because this looks a lot nicer, a lot more modern. Let me come over here. It looks a little bit more plain. And we're going to style this up really nicely and then move on to integrating our products into the home page. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and style the product catalog page, product archive pages, and the inner pages of the website to better match our design scheme. Okay, so right now you can see that the product catalog page has the regular header instead of the transparent header. And then our internal pages, for instance, the cart page, has a transparent header, but the page header itself is a light color, which is basically making it difficult for you to see the contents of the transparent header. So we're going to go ahead and fix all that right now. So go ahead and navigate to the admin toolbar, click on Customize to open up the customizer. From here, we're going to go ahead and navigate to the WooCommerce link or WooCommerce tab here, and then select the product catalog. That's going to give you all the settings and design settings for the product archive pages and the product catalog page. I'm going to go ahead and select the design tab, And from here, I'm going to make some changes. The first change that I'm going to make is the title, archive title background. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the color selector. I want that to be a dark color, so I'll use our highlight color here. And then I also want to add a subtle background to that, or a subtle texture to it. And I already have an image prepared for that. So selecting the color selector again, you'll notice that there are 3 tabs here. There's a color, there's a gradient tab, and then there's an image tab. So I want to select the image tab, click on select an image, and we'll use that subtle pattern that we uploaded earlier on to use on the home page. You can find that in the files that are downloadable in the description below. Okay, so now I've gone ahead and added our subtle pattern there. The other thing that I want to do is I don't want it to take over the entire section here of the page header. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to come over here to the background repeat option. I'm going to select no repeat. Okay, and then I'm going to set the background size to be auto. And then I want this to be shifted to the left, or aligned to the left. So here where we can focus where our image is, just go ahead and pull the selection all the way to the left. Okay, and that's the exact design that we want there. Okay, now we need to make sure that we can see the title here. So to do that, just go ahead and go to the title color, click on the color selector, and we'll select a subtle light color there. Okay, so now we can see. The next thing we need to do is we need to make sure that this is a transparent header. So let's go ahead and navigate back to the general settings. From here, select the header, then scroll down, select the transparent header option, and we're going to go ahead and toggle off the disable search and archive. So as long as this is on, your transparent header is not going to show up on search and archive pages, of which the shop page is an archive page. So once we toggle this off, it'll now get the benefit of that transparent header. So you can see it here right now. Okay. All right. Once we're done here, let's go ahead and publish this, and let's take a look at it. So now you can see that all of our product catalog pages, or product category pages, or archive pages now look much more like the color scheme of the website. Okay. Now let's work on the inner pages. So if we look at the cart page as an example, so you can see here that it has not adopted our color scheme. If we go to the checkout, same thing. So let's go back to the customizer. And then from here, we're going to go to post pages layout. And then you're going to select the page layout option. From here, we're going to go to the design tab. And right now we can go ahead and set the title font to be white. And then here you'll see the page title background. Let's go ahead and click on the color selector here. We want the color to be our highlight dark color. And then let's go ahead and add that image again. So select the image tab, click on select image. We'll select our subtle pattern. We'll set it to no repeat. Let's go ahead and move it over to the left by using this focus icon here and just pushing the selection all the way to the left. And I like this to be 50%, and on the left, 0%. Okay. All right. Background size is auto. And once you're done with that, just go ahead and click on publish. And now our inner pages also match the product catalog pages as well. So if we look at the cart page, that looks great. Catalog pages look great. And it's all following the general scheme of the website. Okay, so now that we've completed the design of the home page and the inner pages and product catalog pages, what we're going to do now is we're going to feature some of our products on the front end of the website. So we want to have a featured section somewhere here on the home page so that people can go ahead and interact with our products on the home page. And then after that, we'll add our footer. And then the final part of this tutorial is where we'll integrate our payment gateway so that we can go ahead and accept payments when people purchase our products. So let's start with the first part of that, which is adding a few of our products to the front end of the website. Okay, so to feature products on our home page, just going to go ahead and edit the page. So click on edit page in the admin toolbar. Once you're in the editing interface here, we're going to actually add our products right here, right below this category section. So I'm going to select this row here, and I want to click on the vertical ellipsis, click on add before. That's going to give me a new block line. I'm going to type a / and the word row. I'm going to select the row layout from Kadence, and I want a 1-column row. I'm immediately going to set this to be full width, and using the visual padding here, I'm going to increase the padding to 4x large. on top and 4x large on the bottom. So now our row is ready for us to add our products. Now in WooCommerce, there are blocks that you can pull into your page that will display products. And to see those blocks, you can click on the block inserter here, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and you will see the WooCommerce blocks right over here. Okay. And there are several blocks that will actually allow you to pull in products. However, the one that actually is the closest to being able to control which products are displayed is going to be the handpicked products block. Okay, so if you drag this in here, okay, you'll see here that you'll have this block, and then you have the settings for the handpicked products block. Now the handpicked products block is actually a collection of blocks contained inside a parent block. So if we open this up in the list view, you'll see the handpicked products block here. And if you click on this arrow, you'll see all the blocks that make up this particular block. So we have the recommended products title. So this is just a heading. And then we have the product template, which is controlling the filter for which products are going to show. And then we have the pagination in here. So you can remove some of these if you don't want to use them. For instance, I may not want to use the pagination, right? So I just want to show some products. So I'm going to go ahead and delete that. And I'll keep the title for now, but I may replace this title with the Kadence title and then maybe add some additional text below it. Okay, so let's select the handpicked. So we're going to select the parent block, which is the handpicked products block here. And over here on the right hand side, the first field will allow you to select the products. Now, if you click here, it will show you all products in your store. The challenge with this is that, let's say I only want to feature some shirts, then I have to really select each product that's a shirt. Maybe for your store, you may want to show different products, different types of products, right? But you'll have it look like this, which may not be as aesthetically pleasing. So let's remove one of these. I just say I want to have 5 products. So it might not be as aesthetically pleasing because they might not go together. The images might not even work out very well. And as you can see here, it just doesn't go with the website. This is where you have all your controls, and you can choose how many per page. So ideally I would want 5, and I want 5 columns, and then that's about it in terms of the configuration here. So if we just do this, save the work, and we view it on the front end, this is how it would look. Here's how I like to do it. I like to use the WooCommerce shortcodes. Now, if you are not familiar with WooCommerce shortcodes, WooCommerce comes with some shortcodes, and you can find it in their documentation. Just go to woo.com and look for the documentation on shortcodes, or do a search for shortcodes in Google for WooCommerce, and you'll find it. So let me show you how to properly populate your homepage with products where you have a little bit more control. So I'm going to come over here, click on edit page, and I'm going to go ahead. Let's open this up in list view. I'm going to select the handpicked products, select the parent container, and I'm just going to go ahead and delete that. We're not going to use that. All right. And from here, what I want to do is I actually want to show 3 layers of categories of the same kind of product. First, we need a title. So I'm going to click on the plus sign here, select the text block from Kadence, and we'll call this our featured items. Go ahead and center that. I'm also going to grab some text, and I'm going to use that as a description underneath. So I'm going to hit the enter key, / start typing the words text. We're going to select the text block from Kadence. Let's go ahead and center that. We'll change the designation to a paragraph, and I'm just going to paste in some text here. Now, text here is a little bit too wide. One thing that's really cool about the text block is I can control the width of the text here. So let's go ahead and set this width to 540. Okay, that looks good. And I'm going to eliminate some of this. This is just placeholder text, so it really doesn't matter. We'll put some real text there later. Okay, so I have my title, I have my descriptive text here. Now I'm ready to go ahead and start adding my products. So I'm going to hit the enter key. I'm going to do a / and I'm going to type the word short code, and I'm going to select the short code block from Gutenberg. And this is where I'm going to add my short code for WooCommerce. Now, this short code is really easy. Just do a open square bracket, and we're going to type the word product, and I'm going to go for a category. So product _ category, telling it that we want to work with a category here. So it's going to limit it to that category. Now we need to tell it which category. So we'll do a space, and we'll type the word category equals, do a quote, and let's say this is going to be shirts. Okay. And now we need to tell it, well, how many shirts do you want to show? And for that, we need to type the word limit equals 5. So limit equals quote 5 close quote. Okay. Okay. And then let's tell it how many columns we want that to be arranged in. So space, columns equals quote 5 quote. Again, you can find these shortcodes. There are numerous of them. Just by doing a search for WooCommerce shortcodes, and you'll find it. And then as you use it more often, you get used to adding it to your pages. Okay. But the benefit of having it as a shortcode is I can add it to any page or any place or any section anywhere without having to use the block. All right, I'm pretty happy with this. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and save this work. Now, in order for you to be able to see what this looks like, we have to look at it on the front end. So when we view the page now and we scroll down, we now have our shirts. Now, one thing that you'll notice is that the layout of this is in the same product layout as Kadence archive page, right? So it's following all the same things. But remember before we had those buttons showing up and the styling was a little bit different. This is just a lot neater. And I prefer this to the actual hand-picked block from WooCommerce. Let's go ahead and fix this spacing over here. So I'm going to come over here, click on Edit Page, and scroll down. And we have a little bit too much space there. So I'm going to go ahead and just reduce this spacing to 0. Click on Save, and then we'll view the page. And that looks a lot better. Okay. So now we have our featured items. We're showing some shirts. Okay, now one thing I'd like to do is I'd like to go ahead and add a few more categories to the front end, okay? And then we'll add some titles to it as well. Let's start by adding a title to this featured product here. Okay, so to add a title above our featured items, let's go ahead and edit this page. So navigate to the admin toolbar, click on Edit Page. Once you get to the editing interface, we're going to scroll down to the shortcode for our featured shirts. And I'm going to select that particular block, click on the vertical ellipsis, and then click on Add Before to add a new block line right above it. We're going to do a / and we're going to add a section to contain our title here. So I'm going to go ahead and type the words section, and I want a section container from Kadence. So that's this one right here. And now we have our section. Okay. Now within this section, let's go ahead and place the title. So we're going to select a text block, and we'll call this shirts. And let's move over here to the right where we have the settings for the text block, and we're going to set this to a medium size. Okay. All right. Next, what I want to do is I want to add a new block line. So I'm going to hit the Enter key, and what I want is a link to all the shirts. Right, so we're only showing a few shirts on the home page as an excerpt, and then we're going to be able to link to the full shirts product catalog page. So in that new block line, I'm going to type a /, and you can start typing the words button and select the button block from Kadence Blocks. That's this right here, and we're going to give it a label, View All Shirts. Okay, so we have our title, and then we have our button. Okay. I'm going to select this button, and here in the button link, we're just going to go ahead and link that to the shirts. All right, so now it links directly to all the shirts, and now we can go ahead and style the section. So what I want to accomplish here is I want the shirts title to be on the left, and I want the button to be on the right. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and align this button here. We're going to go ahead and justify it to the right, and then for the shirts, we're going to leave that aligned to the left. Okay. Now, the other thing that I want to do is for this section here. So if we open this up here, for this section, I really want these to be lined up, right, in an inline fashion. So by default, the section direction is always going downwards. And I'm going to change that by making it go horizontal. Okay, so we want it to go in a horizontal direction. So let's go ahead and do that now. Okay, that's going to align everything so that it's in line with each other. Next thing that I want to do is I want the shirts on the left, and I want the button on the right. And to do that, I'm going to utilize the alignment here for Flexbox, and we're going to select the space between here. Okay, it's going to push everything to the furthest edges of that section. Then for the vertical alignment, I want them to be perfectly centered. So I'm going to go ahead and select the middle here. Okay. Now, I know that the shirts by default, the text block by default for Kadence, has some default margin on the top and bottom. I'm going to go ahead and eliminate that by selecting the shirts so that I can see the settings here. And I'm going to go to the Advanced tab, go to the top margin, and I'm just going to go ahead and zero that out. And for the bottom margin, let's go ahead and zero that out as well. Okay, excellent. Then the other thing that I want to do is I want to style this button to be more of a text link than an actual button. So I'm going to select the button, move over here to the right. I'm first going to change the button size to small so it's more in alignment with the size of the title text here. Okay, and then I'm going to go to the style here, and what I want to do is I'm going to set the color to be a dark color, so just make it our highlight color. And then the background, I'm going to go ahead and make that transparent. Okay. All right, so we still have the button here. Next, I'm going to select the hover tab, and the color for the hover is going to be our second accent color here, so that when you hover over it, it has that color. And then the background is going to be transparent. Now remember, this is the hover tab. All right, so exactly how I want it to operate. Next, I'm going to select the icon settings for this button, and we're going to add an arrow icon. So click in the icon, select icon field, type arrow, and we're going to go ahead and paste that there. Select the arrow there, excuse me. All right, so everything here looks great. Okay. Now, the other thing that I want to do is I want to create some separation here so that you can tell that this is the title for the shirts category. Okay, so here in list view, I'm going to select the section that contains the title and the button, right? So I'm going to select the section. Just move over here to the right with the settings for this section here. And this time, I'm going to go to the Style tab. Under the Style tab, I'm going to scroll down to the Border Styles. And here you can see we have the border field. Let's go ahead and open this up by unlinking the sides for the border. All right, so on the left side, I'm going to add a 5-pixel border, and we're going to add our accent, our second accent color to that. So we can see we have that right there. Okay. And then on the top, we're just going to set this to 0. On the right, that's going to be 0. But on the bottom, I'm going to add a 1-pixel light dashed border. So 1 pixel, I'm going to select the color, and we're going to pick a little bit of a darker color here so that we can see it. Okay, and then we'll make it dashed. All right, so if you're looking at it, it'll look like this. Next, I'm going to go ahead and add a little bit of padding so that the contents of the section are not so close to the edge there. So with the section selected, so select the section, move over here to the right, go to Advanced, and for right padding, I'm just going to add extra small, and on left, shift that to extra small as well. Okay. All right, this looks pretty good. I think the border is a little too dark though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the section. Again, go to Style, Border Styles, and I'm going to set this to be a lighter color. Yeah, like that. Just want it to be subtle. Okay, this looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and save. Let's view it on the front end. All right, and you can see here we now have our very nice title section here. So we got the shirts, and over here on the right hand side is the link to all the shirts. So if I click here, it should take me to the shirts catalog. Now, it looks like our link isn't working, so let me make sure that I have the right link. I'm going to copy this link address here, edit page, we'll scroll down, select our button, open this up, let's paste the link in there. Okay, so it says shirts. Click on the arrow to accept it, save, view it on the front end, and if we click our link, it should take us to the shirts category. There it is. All right, back to the home. All right, so now we just want to repeat this. So I want a few more products showcased here, and I think I want to showcase the shoes and the belts. And I also want them to have this nice title with link as well. So let's go ahead and do that next. Okay, so adding additional featured items is going to be very easy because we've already done the work of creating the title, the link, and adding the featured items the first time. So to go ahead and add additional featured items, let's go ahead and click on Edit Page. Now once we're in the editing interface here, we're going to go ahead and select that shortcode. And let's open this up in list view so that we can see where we are. Okay, so here's the shortcode, and then right above it we have this section which contains our title and then our link to the product catalog. Okay, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to select that section. I'm going to hold down my Shift key and I'm going to select the shortcode. So I have both of these blocks selected. And then here where we have the vertical ellipsis, I'm going to click on the vertical ellipsis and I'm going to click on duplicate. Okay, and I'm going to do it one more time. Okay, so now I should have 3 versions of what we just created. Okay, we can go ahead and close this now. And all we need to do now is just change the information. Okay, so over here, this is going to be shoes now. And then we will change the category inside of the shortcode to shoes. And then of course we'll change the link label here. We want that to be shoes. And we'll also have to change the link as well. So we'll come here. Whoops, actually. And I want to edit this. So we go all the way to the end and we'll change this to shoes. Save that link. And the last one here is going to be belts. We'll change the category to belts. Change the button label to belts. And we'll change the link to belts. Okay, let's go ahead and save it. And let's view it on the front end. And so now when we scroll down, we have our shirts, we have our shoes, and we have our belts. Okay, so now what we need to do is just tidy this up a bit by adding some spacing in between the titles for each of the featured items. So I'm going to come over here, click on Edit Page, scroll down, and I'll select the shoes here. Open this up in List View, and what I want is this shoes section here. Move over to the right, go to Advanced, and we're just going to add a margin here. And let's add a medium margin. And then we'll do the same thing with the belts section here. So we'll select the section itself, move over to the right, go to Advanced, click on the margin field for the top, and we'll set that to medium. Save the work, view the front end, scroll down, and now we have a little more spacing there so that we can see which product the title belongs to. Okay. All right, so now our homepage actually looks like a full-blown e-commerce homepage, complete with some featured items and products that the site visitor can interact with, and then other areas that will do some selling if they decide to scroll past. Now, one thing that I like to do, as I have been doing throughout this tutorial, is I like to check this out on mobile to make sure that it looks good on the mobile device. So let's go ahead and open up Chrome Developer. So I'm going to right-click, click on Inspect, and we can see how it looks here on a cell phone. So if we scroll down and find our featured items, we can see the title here, and we can see the link, and everything is in perfect alignment. Okay, this looks great. Let's go ahead and exit. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add a footer to our site, and then we'll go ahead and make sure that we configure a payment gateway so that people can actually purchase items from the site. And I'll show you how you can integrate your site with Stripe. Okay, so let's go ahead and design the footer for our site. If you scroll down to the bottom of the page here, you'll see the default footer that comes with the theme. And here it just has the copyright information, the WordPress credit, and the Kadence credit as well. Okay, so we're going to completely change this and add a functional footer that's fitting for the e-commerce website that we're building. So to do that, let's go ahead and navigate over to the customizer by clicking on Customize in the admin toolbar. In the theme settings here in the customizer, we're going to go ahead and select footer. And once you do that, you'll see the available items for the footer. Similar to the header, you have available items that you can drag and drop into the design area of the footer, which is represented by this interface here at the bottom and the main side of the website, right? If you scroll this all the way down here, you'll see the footer itself, right? So it's the footer, and this is the design area for the footer. And just like the header, it has 3 rows. There's a top row, a middle row, and a bottom row. And you can drag items in here, or you can click on the plus sign and add items that way as well. Okay. Now the items that you add in the footer are all widgets. So let's go ahead and add one of these widgets. So let's add this one. Okay. So you can add a widget here, and then to go ahead and add content to the widget, you can click on the cogwheel. But I don't like to add content in the customizer because this is too small, so you really can't see it very well, and it's just a much more better experience when you do it in the widget area themselves. The idea here is that we want to go ahead and drag in widgets that we're going to use here in the footer, and then we'll go to the widget area in the admin dashboard and then configure those widgets. So let's just go ahead and set that up right now. I know we're going to need 4 columns, so right now we have 3 columns, and we're going to put it all in the middle row. So I'm going to click on the cogwheel for the middle row. That's going to give me the settings for this specific row. Okay, so under the general settings here, you can see that we have a columns option where you can have up to 5 columns. So in this case, we want to have 4 columns. Okay, so our columns are organized here. You can see now we now have 4 areas where we can add widgets to. Okay. The other thing is that we also want this to be dark colored. Right, so I'm going to come over here to the design tab, and we're going to look for the middle row background. Let's click on the color selector, and we'll give it our highlight color. Okay, that's going to make it dark. Now we're not seeing anything because we haven't placed anything in there. But we're just setting up the design now so that when we add our content, we'll be able to see it. Then we want to make sure that any text that's in here is going to be light colored. So let's make our link colors match our highlight colors. Actually, let's make our link color a little bit different here. I want the main color to be white, but I want the highlighted color to be our accent color. And then the widget content, so any text in here is going to be a white colored text. And then same thing with the widget titles. All right, I believe we've customized it enough to see. Let's also make sure we customize the bottom row here. So right now we have our content in here. Let's go ahead and customize that. So I'm going to click on the bottom row cogwheel, and let's go to the design tab. And from here, we're going to set the background row to a dark color, so you can see that right there. And then we want our widget content to be light or white. Okay. And then any links, I want that to be white as well. And I would like for those links to have a hover of our second accent color. And then for the link style, I would like to remove that underline. So you can do that here by clicking on this drop down under the link style and saying no underline. Okay, so far that looks good. And then we can also change this text as well. So you do that by clicking on the cogwheel for the copyright widget right here. We'll go to the general tab for that, and you can see all the information and all the available placeholders here. Okay, so I'm just going to leave the copyright, the year, and the site title in place. And I'm going to remove the WordPress theme and Kadence WP credit there. And you can just put your credit here, site. And that looks pretty good. I'm happy with the way that looks. So let's go ahead and publish this. And the next step is to go ahead and add the widgets to the actual row here. So I'm going to select the middle row again. I'm going to go back to the footer tab, the main footer tab here. And let's just drag in the widgets. So I want one widget here where I'm going to place some content. And I'm going to drag widget 2 into the second area. And then widget 3 into the third. And widget 4 into the fourth area. Okay. All right. Now, of course, we're not seeing anything because we have nothing in these widgets. These are just containers for now. All right. I'm pretty happy with what I have set up here, so I'm going to go ahead and publish the changes. And next, we're going to go ahead and navigate to the dashboard and then go to our widget areas to go ahead and add our content for the footer. Okay, so to access the widget areas, you can do that in one of 2 ways. We can navigate over here to the admin toolbar if you're on this part of your website. And if you just hover over the name of your site here to the far left, you'll see a link to the widgets. You can also go to the dashboard and go to appearance, and you'll see the widgets link here as well. Both of them will take you to the same place, which is right here. And when you get here, these widget areas for the footer correspond to each of the areas that you added a widget to. Okay, so if we open up the first one, for example, this is where you can go ahead and add your blocks. And as you can see, this interface is a lot more amenable for design versus the one in the customizer, which is why I like to do it here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to click on the plus sign, or you can also click on the widget inserter, but I like to do it from the plus sign here. Just click on the plus sign. And the first thing we want to add here is our logo. So I'm going to go ahead and do a search for an image block, and we're going to select the image block from Kadence. I'm going to click on select image, and I'm going to select our light colored logo. Okay, so go ahead and insert that in here. Okay, so we can't see the logo here because it's light colored, but it is in there. And what I want to do is I'm just going to go ahead and format this to be 150 pixels in the settings here. So for the image width, that way it's small size. If at any time you need to see what's happening with anywhere you're adding blocks in the widget area, similar to the post or page editing interface, you can come over here and click on list view, and you will see everything that you're doing. So I can see my images right here, right? And if I want to add additional blocks to it, I can either click the vertical ellipsis here in the list view, or I can click it over here as well. So I do want to add some text below that logo. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the vertical ellipsis, click on add after, and I'll get a new block line. Okay, I'm going to do a / type the words text. I'm going to select the Kadence text block, and I'm going to go ahead and designate this as a paragraph by changing the H2 designation here. And I'm going to go ahead and just paste in some default text here. Okay. All right. So now I can see I have an image or the logo. I have some text, and I also want to add some social media icons right below this. So I'm going to hit the enter key from here, do a / and start typing the word icon. And I'm going to select the icons from Kadence Block. It's going to give me that first icon. Now remember, the icon block is actually a container, and then it contains the icons individually inside of that container. Okay, so this is the first icon here. We're going to go ahead and change this to a Facebook. Let's make this a Facebook icon. And for this one, we're going to select the solid icon here. Okay. All right. And then we also want to set this to be about half the size. So I like to set this to 25 pixels. All right. And then I also want to add additional icons here. So it's very easy to do. I can just either select the full icon block here like that. Click on the plus sign, and it'll give me an additional icon. Let's do that one more time, and we'll just have a total of 3 social media links here. So I'm going to go ahead and change these. So just select the second one, look over here to the right, click in the icon field here, and this will be the Twitter or X, formerly known as Twitter icon. So we'll select this one, and let's just go with this here. We'll change the size slightly because it's such a large icon. Just going to go ahead and make this 20 pixels, that way it kind of matches. And then the final one will be Instagram. Let's go ahead and select the third icon. We'll click here, and we'll search for the Instagram icon. Here it is. We'll go ahead and select this one. Okay. All right, so far that looks pretty good. Next, what I want to do is I want to go ahead and align this correctly. So I'm just going to select the full icon container, select it here, and let's go ahead and align it to the left. Okay, that's now aligned to the left, and let's go ahead and just customize this a little bit further. I just want to create a little bit of separation between them. So I'm going to select the full icon, parent icon block here, and let's add an icon's gap, a small one like that. Okay, let's go ahead and just update our work for now and take a look at what this looks like on the front end of the website. Go ahead and just open this in a new tab here, and let's see what we have. Okay, so as you can see, we have our logo, and then we have a little bit of text here as well. Okay. All right. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add additional content to the other columns as well. So let's go ahead and work on that second column. Okay, so in the second column, we're just going to have some title and some links, and even in the third column, we'll have some title and some links as well. And then in the fourth column, we're going to have an opt-in form. So let's go ahead and navigate back to the widgets area. So we're going to go ahead and go to the title of the website here in the admin toolbar. Click on widgets. And then from here, we're going to go to footer 2, which has our second widget in the footer. We're going to click on the plus sign here, and we're going to add a text block. And this is just going to say company. All right, and we're going to add just a list of links here. So I'm going to use the icon list from Kadence Blocks. So just type the word icon in the search box here, and then select icon list. And then we'll just add a list. So let's just say maybe the about page here, and then customer support. And then let's also add our policies. So we'll have a shipping policy. Let's have a refund policy. And we can also have our privacy policy here as well. And let's just add our terms and conditions. Okay. All right, and then let's also style this a little bit. So the company text here, I know that the text block from Kadence comes with some default settings, so we'll want to customize this a little bit. So I'm going to select the text here for the title, move over to the right, and I want the font size to be medium. And then I'm going to go to the advanced tab here, and I'm going to remove the top margin here. Okay, the bottom margin is fine. And then the other thing I want to customize also is the color, because I know it's going to take the default color from our color palette, which is a dark color, which is what it's showing now. But our footer, it has a dark background. So I'm going to select the text, move over to the right, under the style tab. I'm going to change the color to our subtle white color here. Okay. And then for the list of links here, let's just go ahead and customize it. So when you select the icon list, it's really a container that contains a list. So you can see here it says view parent block settings. And if you open this up in list view, you'll see what I mean. Here's the icon list, and then here are the list of items inside of it. Okay, so I want to select the actual parent container, which is the icon list. And then from here on the right hand side, we can just go ahead and set the icon for it globally. And I want to use a icon called a caret. It's like an arrow, but without the tail. And we're just going to select one that's pointing towards the actual link itself. Okay, so it looks like that. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that. Let's go ahead and save it. So I'm going to update this here. We can close out the list view, and let's take a look at this on the front end of the website. All right, let's scroll down to the footer, and yeah, so now we can see what our list looks like here. Let's go ahead and add the content for the third column. So to do that, we're going to navigate back to the widget area by going back to the admin toolbar. We're going to select widgets from the drop-down menu here. Okay, and this time we're going to go to footer 3, which contains our widget container in the footer. We're going to click on the plus sign. Let's add our heading text. And this one's going to be, let's have this be a link to the product catalogs that we have, or the product categories that we have. So the title will be a shop. And we can go ahead and style this the same way we styled all the other ones. So the color is going to be a light color. The size will be medium. And then we'll go to the advanced and we'll eliminate that top margin. And then we also can add a list here. So let's click on the plus sign, select the icon list. And we have shirts as a category. We also have shoes. And then there is also belts. And we have accessories. Okay? And then similar to how we did with the other one, we're going to go over here, select the parent block settings, and we'll change the icon to that caret icon, pointing inwards like that. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and update this, and then we'll view this on the front end. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now, I noticed that this looks a little misaligned and kind of squished. Don't worry, we're going to style this so that everything looks nice and even. Okay, but for now, we're just adding the content. So in the fourth column here, we're going to add an opt-in form for people to choose to get access to discounts from the store. and we're going to have to create that form. Now we can't create the form inside of the widget area. We actually have to create the form inside of the form custom post type for Kadence, because even though you can create forms directly in post and page editing interfaces, you can't do it inside of the widget areas because the interface just doesn't support that. Okay, so to be able to create that form, we're going to need to navigate back to the dashboard here. So go back to the dashboard, and we're going to go to the Kadence link in the admin sidebar, and we're going to select forms. Okay, and then from here we're going to go ahead and click on add new form, and it's going to attempt to take us through the wizard for creating a form. Now our form is going to be a very simple form, so let's go ahead and name it now. So we'll call this our shop opt-in form, and there's some presets here that we can use, but we're going to ignore this and just click on skip because we want to build this from scratch. Okay, so let's go ahead and title the form the exact same thing that we have as the title, and we'll also add that as a form description as well. Let's go ahead and click on create. Okay, now we're ready to go ahead and build out our form. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and create a container for the fields that are going to be in the form. Now we're only really going to have one field, but I like to create a container anyway to contain all the elements of my form. So I'm going to click here on the block line, type a /, start typing the words row, and we're going to select a row container. It's going to have a single column, and then we're going to click on the plus sign, and if you do a search for email, because we want the email field, we're going to select the email field block for the form. Let's go ahead and title this email address. And then if we look over here to the right, you'll see the settings for this field. So the first thing we want to do is make sure that this is a required field. The other thing I want to do is I want to hide the label, and I'm going to use the field placeholder to communicate to the viewer. So enter your email address is what the placeholder will say. Okay. Then under the advanced tab, I'm going to go to the extra settings, and we're going to label this. We're going to give it an email address field label. And then for the ARIA description for people that are using screen readers, we're going to say here email address input field. Okay, all right. Then the next thing we're going to do here is I'm going to open this up in list view so I can see the form and how it's building out here. So I can see I have my email address. It's inside of my row container. I also want my submit button to also be inside of that row container as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the submit button, and I'm just going to drag it right underneath the email address field and drop it in there. Okay, so now everything is inside of the container. Now all I need to do is style the elements that are in here. Let's start with the row layout. I'm going to select the row layout, and I'm going to create a gap between the two items here. To be able to create that gap, I actually need to select the section inside of that row layout, move over to the right to the section settings, and we're going to give it a vertical gap of small. It's going to create a space between these two elements. Okay. Next, I'm going to select the actual form itself. That will allow me to be able to style the input field. So select the form, move over to the right, go to style, and then from here, what I want to do is I want my border radius to be 100 pixels, so I get that pill formatting look there for that email field. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. The next thing I'm going to style is the submit button. So to do that, I can select the submit button here or select it here in the list view. I'm going to move over to the right, and from here I want the button width to be full, so it spans the full width of the container. I'm going to go to style, and I'm going to also set this border radius to 100 pixels. So I'm going to unify the sides, and we'll make this 100 pixels. All right, so now they pretty much match. Okay, now one thing I do want to do is I would like to add just a little bit of padding into the input field here, and then I want to add a border to the submit field. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the form block. I'm going to go to style, and here where we have the input field, I'm going to scroll down here, and you're going to see the advanced field settings. Let's go ahead and click on that, And here you can see we have some input padding. Okay, so for that I'm going to go ahead and unify this, and we're going to give it input padding of 5 pixels. Actually, let's make it 10 pixels. There we go. So 10 pixels is great. And then I'm going to select the submit form, move over to the right, go to the style, and I'm going to give it a border of 2 pixels, and the border color is going to be our highlight color. Okay, just like that. Okay. Next, I'm going to change the label here, and we want this label to actually say get discounts. Okay. All right. I'm pretty happy with the form. Now I just need to do one more thing. I'm going to select that row layout. Okay, it has some padding here on the top and the bottom. I'm going to go over to here to the right, go to advanced. I'm going to unify the sides here, and I'm going to eliminate all padding from the container. Okay, so now our form is ready to place into the footer. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on the logo here to go ahead and exit that interface. And from here, we can go to Appearance, Widgets. That'll take us to the widget area. And from here, we're going to navigate to the Footer 4 widget area, right? It contains our widget container for the footer. We're going to click on the plus sign here, and we're going to do a search for forms, and we're looking for the advanced form from Kadence. Let's go ahead and select that. And then from the drop down, select the shop opt-in form that we just created. Click on select, and now that form is in place. Next, what we want to do is go ahead and add a heading to this section here. So let's click on the vertical ellipsis for the form, click on add before to create a new block line. I'm going to do a /, and we're going to select the text block from Kadence, and this is going to say get access to discounts. All right, we're going to move over here to the right, and we're going to style it the same way we styled all the others. So the size is going to be medium, the color is going to be a light color, and under the advanced tab we're going to go ahead and zero out that top margin. Now this is ready. Let's click on update, and now we can go ahead and view this on the front end. We'll scroll down. Okay, and now we can see our form is nicely in place. Next, what we need to do now is go ahead and style this footer so that everything looks nice and even and well placed. To do that, let's go back to the customizer. So in your admin toolbar, click on customize. That'll open up the customizer. Next, we're going to go to the footer tab here, and then from here we're going to select that middle row in the footer. It's going to open up the settings for this middle row. Let's go ahead and scroll all the way down so that we can see what we're editing. Okay, so starting from the top here, we're happy with the 4 columns, but the layout here, this layout is an even layout, so each column, each piece of content is occupying an equal amount in the layout. What we really want here is we want this first column to be a little wider than the remainder of the columns. So to do that, we're going to change this layout from an equal width layout to a layout where we have a wider left side. So I'm going to go ahead and select the middle one here because that matches exactly what we're looking for. Okay, great. So now we set that up. Next, let's go ahead and take care of our spacing. So this first spacing setting takes care of the column spacing. So that's the spacing between the columns themselves. Let's go ahead and increase this to 60 pixels. Okay. Then for the widget spacing, that's going to be the spacing between each element inside of the column. Okay, let's go ahead and reduce that to 20 pixels. That's going to bring everything a little bit closer to each other. All right, and then next is going to be the spacing between the top of the footer area and the bottom. So on the top spacing, I want this to be really large so that it's clear that it is separate from the main content area of the site. All right, now that looks pretty good. Okay, and then the bottom spacing we're going to leave alone, and everything else is fine here. Okay, next let's take care of some design elements. So the text here is a little bit too big. We want to make sure that everything looks a little bit smaller in the footer than the actual main content. So we're going to go to the design tab for this footer middle row here. So just click on the design tab. And then from here, we're going to select that the widget content here, we want the font to be smaller. So I'm going to click on the first font field here. We're going to go to size, and from here we're going to reduce this to 15 pixels. And then the next thing that we're going to do here is we're going to apply the same thing to the copyright row here, which is the bottom row. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the cogwheel for the bottom row. we're going to go to the Design tab, and I'm going to go to the Widget Content Font, select the Size tab here, and let's go ahead and reduce this to also 15 so that they match. All right, I believe that looks a lot better. Let's go ahead and publish our changes, and we'll close the customizer. And now we can scroll down and see what our footer actually looks like. As you can see here, we have a nice and neat footer with our opt-in form here on the right, logo on the left, social media icons, and then list of useful links. Okay, so we are about 99% done with our e-commerce website here. We just need to take care of a few housekeeping items and tidy up a few things. So the first thing we want to do is want to make sure that all our buttons on the home page link to the respective areas where they're supposed to link to. So remember, we created all these buttons, but we didn't link them anywhere. Okay, linking them is very easy. Let's just go to Edit Page, and now we're in the editing interface. We're going to select this first button, and it's going to link to the shop. So if you just come over here in the settings on the right hand side, and if you type the word shop, we're going to get the default shop page here. Just go ahead and select that. And then here we also have the same thing, this button. So we'll link that to the shop. And then we have these categories. Okay, there are these sections here that link to the categories. So let's go ahead and link this as well. Okay, so to link this, we're going to select the section here. I'm going to move over here to the right, and here we have this overlay link. And we want to link this to that product category. So to do that, I'm just going to type a /, type the word product dash category / shirts. And that will link to that product category. We're going to do the same thing for this one. And this one. Okay, and then we'll link this to the shop. And this will also link to the shop. All right, let's get rid of that extra block line. We'll save. We'll view the front end of the website and we'll test our links. So this should take us to the general shop. There we are. So our items. This should take us to the shirts category. Does that successfully. Shoes category. Very good. Accessories. And then this takes us to the shop. Okay, so everything links correctly. One more. We have a typo. And that's why it's always good to test. So we'll go back, click on Edit, scroll down, select that button, make sure it's the button itself, click on the Edit key here, and select the shop, save, test the link, it works. And then we'll test this final link. Oh, that also has an error. Okay. Very easy to fix. Click on Edit Page. Find the button. There we go. Now our website is ready. So the next thing that we want to do is go ahead and add our payment gateway or our payment capability. So we can accept credit cards when people purchase items from our e-commerce store. Okay, so if I go to the cart where we've placed some items in here earlier. Okay, so here's all our items. So if we go to the cart and we go to checkout, okay, you can see over here it says there are no payment methods available. This may be an error on our side. Please contact us if you need any help placing your order. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you how to add a payment option so that you can readily accept orders and payments on your site. To implement our payment method into our e-commerce website, let's go ahead and navigate back to the dashboard. So here in the admin toolbar, I'm going to hover over the name of the website, click on dashboard. And once you're in the dashboard, here in the side menu, you're going to see a menu item called payments. Okay, this menu item is available as long as you have WooCommerce installed on your site. Let's click on the payments link, and that'll take us to the payment settings where you can see the payment methods that are available for your site. So you'll see the WooPayments option that you can install. Okay, this is a payment plugin from WooCommerce. Then you have PayPal payments, and then you also have the ability to take offline payments. And if you scroll down here and you open up this accordion, you're going to see there's a Stripe plugin you can use, a Square plugin, and AirWallex payments. Okay, these are all viable options for your payment methods, but I don't use any of these. The one that I actually recommend is a free plugin that will give you a much more supercharged and upgraded experience with accepting payments on your website. And what's great about this plugin is that it's 100% free. This is the plugin from Stellar WP called StellarPay. You can find this in the WordPress plugin repository, but you can also find it directly on their website at stellarwp.com/StellarPay. This is a free plugin that will allow you to supercharge your e-commerce store using Stripe, and it gives you some premium features that are typically available in paid plugins, but you get them completely for free. One of the best things of it is that it actually allows you to be able to manage your payments in a very clean interface inside of your install. So some of the advanced payment options that you'll get is the ability to make one-time single payments or create subscription payments, which is a paid feature in WooCommerce. Installment payments, you can set up different billing periods. You get all the premium features at no additional cost. That includes all these premium features here. And then you can also get insights and control over the process. Okay, so this is a great plugin. It's completely free to use. I found that the experience of using StellarPay a much better and cleaner experience than all the other payment methods that we covered. So let's go ahead and install this and take a look at how it works. So I'm going to go back to my install, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to the plugins in the side menu, click on add plugin. Let's go ahead and search for StellarPay. Okay, so here's StellarPay here. Let's go ahead and click on install now and activate. Okay, so we've now installed StellarPay. The next step is for us to go ahead and connect it to Stripe. So it's important that you have a Stripe account. If you don't have a Stripe account, you can just go to stripe.com and go ahead and create an account. Account here is free to create, and come back and connect your account to Stripe. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like when you connect the account to Stripe. Let's go ahead and click on connect to Stripe. All right, and here it's asking for my email address. So if I don't have a Stripe account, it'll attempt to create one for me, and if it does, it will detect that I have a Stripe account and then proceed from there. All right, go ahead and enter my Stripe password. Okay, so now I'm logged in, and it's going to ask me to choose the account that I like to connect to StellarPay. So I want to connect this to my Clifton WP account. Let's go ahead and click on connect. Okay, and now our website is connected. You can go ahead and subscribe to get important support information or product updates. I'm already subscribed. So now let's go ahead and enable StellarPay in WooCommerce. Just click here. All right, and if you scroll down now, you will see Stripe payments powered by StellarPay. Okay, and what you want to do now is go ahead and enable this, and it's now enabled. Okay, you can click on Manage Integration. All right, and it'll take you directly to the settings. You can also access the settings in the side menu here by clicking on the StellarPay link. Okay, so let's quickly go through these settings. All right, so here we have our checkout, where you can customize the look of the checkout payment interface to match your site. So here we have a credit card or debit card. You can change this if you want to. I'll leave it like that. And then you have your styling options. So you can change the primary color to suit the theme of your website, the field background, and these settings are actually applying to the interface here where people are going to be putting in their credit card. Okay. You can have a flat look like that, dark. You can take a look at all these. Minimal, bubblegum. This is a kind of an old school look, 95, and dark blue. I tend to just leave this at the default. It's completely fine. It's just for people to be able to make their payments. You can also impact the layouts in your styling. So right now this is a tab layout where you have the card on one side and all the other options on the other side here. We can change that to be an accordion. Okay, so it's down here instead, or accordion with radios where they can select the radio button for the way they like to pay, or an accordion with spacing and radios. You see that right there. Okay. I also like to keep this as tabs. All right. And then you have your statement descriptor, which is the name that appears on your customer's credit card statements. And by default, it's set to your Stripe account name. So if you want to change this, then just toggle this on and then change it here. Okay. All right. The next thing that you can look at here are you can look at your payment methods. Okay. Under the settings. So if we go to payment methods here, it's going to pull in all the payment methods that are turned on, right? So we have cards turned on, but here you also have wallets turned on. So people can pay you with Amazon Pay, Apple Pay, Google Pay, or Link. You can turn these on or off. These are your bank redirects, your bank debits, and then your buy now, pay later options. Okay. You can also set up fee recovery here. So this will enable a fee recovery for all transactions. Customers will see an additional line item during the checkout process when the fee recovery is enabled. And then you have your account management where you can see your account details, development and testing. So here I can connect a test account. And since I'm already logged in, I'm going to go ahead and do this now. So click on connect a test account. We want the same account. Click on connect. And this way I can now use test data when testing my store. Right, and we can turn on test mode or turn it off. Let's go ahead and turn it on now because we're going to process a transaction to make sure that this actually works. So I'm going to turn it on. Okay, and then you have your migration logs. The other links here is there is a dashboard. So in the dashboard, you're going to see your Stripe overview, how much money is coming in, how much payout is going out, any fraud warnings and any unanswered disputes. And then you'll also be able to see any payments. You'll also be able to see any payouts and then also any subscriptions. So you can create a subscription product from here, and anybody who's subscribed, that's going to be listed here. And then over here, we have all your events from any of the webhooks that have been received. Okay, so right now we have completed the setup of our payment gateway. So if I go back to the front end of the website here from here, and we go to the checkout. Okay, and now we can see that we have our payment options are now active. Okay, right now it's in test mode, and this way we can test our transactions. And you can see we have the credit card option. There's a US bank account option, the Affirm, Amazon Pay, and then you also have some of the other buy now, pay later options here as well. Okay, and then once you're ready to make this live, it's just a matter of going back, go back to the dashboard. Go to StellarPay. We're back in the dashboard here, and we'll go to settings. And then under the settings, we'll go to development and testing. And then you just turn off test mode. We'll save. And now when we go back, let's go ahead and visit the checkout. And this is actually now live, right? So it is ready to go ahead and process credit card payments. Okay, so now that we've completed the setup of our e-commerce website, let's actually go ahead and test to see if the functionality actually works. Okay, so there are three things we want to do. One, we want to take the site off coming soon mode because in coming soon mode, no one can actually view the site. Second thing is we want to make sure we're using a user or a new user that's not an admin. So this will be a real test, almost as though someone were visiting the website and going through the process. And the third thing we want to do is we want to make sure that our test mode is on so that we're not using any live credit card data. Okay, so let's actually do that first. So I'm going to go ahead and navigate back to the dashboard. From here in the side menu, you're going to see the StellarPay. Let's go ahead and go to settings. From settings, we're going to select development and testing. And I'm going to go ahead and turn test mode on. Save. Next, we're going to turn off coming soon mode. So here under WooCommerce, if you go to settings, you will see the coming soon under site visibility. So over here, you can see that coming soon is checked on. You can just go ahead and check this to live. Another way to do this is to just click here where it says coming soon, and you'll be able to do that as well. But we're already in the back end, so we could do that. So just set it to live, save changes, and now people can actually view this website live on the internet. And that's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and open up the website in a brand new browser where I'm not logged in, and we'll go ahead and test a transaction. Okay, so here we are. We're logged out and we're in a new browser. Let's go ahead and buy some stuff. So I'm gonna come up here, let's go to shirts, and let's buy this nice red shirt here. I'm gonna click on add to cart, and then let's also go to shoes. Let's get some shoes as well. And I'm gonna add this to the cart. And let's go to belts. Let's just get a full outfit here. And we'll buy this belt. And let's also go to accessories. And let's get this wallet. Okay, so we bought one of each thing. Now if we go to the cart, we'll see all our items. We can also see the cart here. And we can select checkout either from here or you can do it from here. So let's click on checkout. All right, and now we are ready to check out. So I'm gonna scroll down, let's put in an email address. All right, and a shipping address. And we're gonna say use the same address for billing. And we have the free shipping because we have spent more than $50. And then here we're going to go ahead and use a credit card. So we're using Stripe, and we can use the Stripe test credit card numbers, which is 42424242 until you have all 16. Expiration date, we'll set that into the future. And security code of 424. Save your info for secure one-link checkout. You can do this if you want to. I do not want to do that, so let's uncheck that. And we don't need any notes. Okay, and we're ready to place our order. So let's go ahead and click on place order. Okay, we can see that the process worked flawlessly. So here's our order number. Here is the product details, our billing address, shipping address, and everything that we need. Now, if this were a live transaction, it would send off the emails and the new order notifications and so on. But this is all just a test, so it's not really going to record any real information or send out any information because it's not an actual transaction. But we needed to test it to make sure that it actually works. And as you can see, it worked beautifully. Okay. And with that, that will bring our tutorial to its conclusion on how to build an e-commerce website from scratch using 100% free tools, including the free Kadence theme, the free version of Kadence Blocks, the free WooCommerce plugin, and the free StellarPay payment method. And we were able to build this website 100% from scratch. Hey, if you enjoyed this tutorial, please do me a big favor and smash that like button. And if you are new to the channel, welcome. And you can also do me a favor by subscribing and hitting that notification bell so that you are notified every time I release tutorials like this, especially if you like in-depth, step-by-step tutorials. And for those of you who are already subscribed, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for subscribing. And until next time, I'll see you in the next video.